event that's coming up on Saturday, August 23rd. And also some of your adoptables. And I just can't wait for folks to see these pictures because they're absolutely adorable. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so let's start off with Clear the Shelters. This is an annual event that we do here at WCNC Charlotte, and NBC stations do nationwide, partnering with local rescues and shelters to really try to get the movement going with pet adoptions. And either one of you can speak to this if you want, but this is the time of year, really, when you need the help, right?
Yes, I mean, pretty much any time of the year is the time that we need the help, but we do have a certain push during this time because things do start piling back up. When everybody starts going back to school, we do see a drop in those adoptions. So definitely is a great time to come out if you can.
Yeah, and I mean, Captain Yancey, could you speak on what the shelter situation is looking like right now? I mean, I know we've been hearing from some that are, really, really full and just like constantly at max capacity. How are you all doing over there in Gaston County?
The same as the rest of the nation,
Yeah.
I'm afraid. Every shelter, every rescue is at max capacity, if not over, and they struggle to get those animals pushed along to their new homes. So this is one of the nationwide events that's sponsored by Hills, and we want to make sure that we're part of it, that everybody else in our community can come out and find another pet for their loving home.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the fact that obviously this is really big about adoptions, but also it's just great to spread awareness too about the animal shelters and rescues and what they need. Just having done work with local shelters and also just rescues in the area too, I know that, donations are really important. Getting fosters, to step up and help with, a little bit with the overcrowding situation. What do y'all need over there in Gaston County on that front, other than adoptions? And what sort of programs are there for folks who feel like, maybe if I'm not ready to quite adopt, but I still want to help, what can they do?
Yeah, there's some great opportunities in every shelter, but we know in Gaston, if we have volunteers that can come do anything, if they just want to come help, do laundry and wash dishes, or just take a dog for a walk, or take a cat for a walk in a stroller. I mean, any of those things are helpful.
Oh. I'm sorry, I'm just picturing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. And it really helps diminish their stress level. And so when an actual person comes in looking to adopt, they see this animal that is a lot less stressed, is more adoptable, and they can get a good concept of what it's going to be like to have this animal at home.
Yeah, and I mean, you were telling me kind of offline before we started the segment up here, the fact that it does seem like you don't have major barriers to be able to come in and volunteer on that front, that type of volunteer work. So how do folks actually get in the door with that? Do you go online, fill out a form, or you just email someone and say, hey, I feel like I want to help out?
Yeah, we encourage people that if you have spare time, just stop by. You can fill out an interaction form and just understand the rules and regulations. And then they can take the dog for the day and take it to the park or take it to get a pup cup or anything just to help reduce that stress. It gets them out for a while and also helps our staff not have to take that animal out for an extra amount of time. They know that they got a vacation that day and they were able to enjoy outside time.
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to the fact that there is the element of kennel stress, and we've done stories on that in the past here on WCNC Charlotte, just about how that can take a toll on animals being inside a shelter for a long duration. It's a very unnatural type of living environment. Obviously, the shelters do everything they can to try to make it as hospitable and healthy as possible, but, long term, at a certain point, it just doesn't feel good mentally. But this element of daycation, getting out for a little bit, even a fostering situation, get out for several days, that can make a big difference in how the animals feel and how they present to potential adopters too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. We can also learn a lot of new things about the animals once they have that chance to get out. We've had some people take them to a park where they had access to a lake and found out that these animals loved playing in the water, or found out that they very much did not like the water. Even little things like that adds to what people understand the personality of the animal to be, and can be a great boon in getting them adopted. Also, photos. Photos definitely help me when it comes to that.
I've done actually a daycation program multiple times with the shelter where I volunteer, and I've actually seen in real life the benefits of a daycation program in that I've taken a dog out once, taken photos, basically gotten some notes. I walked him around the park, saw how he might have interacted at far with other dogs, what the reaction was. I kind of do it all safely because you don't want to just do like face-to-face meetings, like first time, you don't know how the dog's going to react, but, really controlled test environment, if you will, to see how the dog might react if he hears children laughing at the playground or something, and then pass those notes along on social media, and actually have had, in multiple instances, folks come to the shelter that day and were like, I want to foster this dog. It makes a difference.
Definitely, it absolutely does.
So with that, we do want to talk about some of your adoptables, because it sounds like some of these dogs and cat, we have one cat to talk about in particular, oh, so adorable, I can't wait for you to see her, and these are long timers.
Yeah, every single one that I sent you has been there 30 days or plus, and I believe Fluttershy is our longest resident at this point.
Yeah.
And they're all absolutely phenomenal dogs and cat. King we have, who is...
And we have a photo.
Yes.
So I'll just, if you ever want to look, there are little graphics that we've made.
Oh my goodness. You can see he's absolutely gorgeous and just the biggest cuddle bug, literally. He is quite large. And he's so loving and so sweet, and a lot of those behaviors that typically put me off of shepherds when it comes to like the mouthiness and stuff, he just doesn't have. But unfortunately, he's been there for so long, and as you can see, he's an absolutely gorgeous dog. Maybe not exactly the kind of thing that somebody would be expecting a shelter to have, but we do have a wide variety of animals available for adoption that will, I promise, be exactly what you're looking for.
I mean, he looks so cute and sweet, and he's 7 years old, and I don't know if I've shared this before, I'm a huge senior softie. I love seniors. I joke that we run a retirement home at our home because we have 2 resident senior dogs, and frequently take on senior foster dogs as well, with either, they're just aged or they have medical conditions, special needs. Not as a rule, we've done some puppies too, but we just find that the personalities, and sometimes they kind of get overlooked for no reason, I feel like, at a shelter.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so sad because a lot of those things that people are looking for in a pet, you find so much more easily in a dog that's grown than you do a puppy.
Yeah.
Puppies are wonderful, they're phenomenal, but they are a lot of work, whereas a more senior dog may be a bit more manageable for most people, and a lot of the times they still have so many good years left on them, which is a big concern, and I understand that, but they have so much love to give in that time. It makes the whole entire experience work. That talking from personal experience.
Yeah. Well, speaking of seniors, we've got another one that you've shared. This is Luna. She's 8 years old. She's a terrier mix. I love her cute photo shoot.
Oh my gosh,
pretty baby.
Luna is a personal favorite of mine. She is, again, just a lot more laid back, very cuddly, very sweet, housebroken. Again, a lot of those things that people are looking for when it comes to dogs. And with her particularly, you mentioned the medical stuff earlier, a lot of people are put off whenever they see anything medical put on, but at least in our facility, we make sure to never adopt out anything that we don't think the average adopter can handle.
Yeah.
So when you see a medical, please don't be put off. Talk to us. We are more than happy to go over what that care might look like. If we didn't think the average person could manage it, we wouldn't have them available. At that point, we would have them available for rescue only or something similar. In her case, the medical is skin related.
Okay.
Her skin issues used to be a lot more difficult to manage, but she's come a long way. It's bats at this point.
Okay.
And she has minor heartworm, which we do send the treatment home for with
that's great.
those adoptions.
Yeah, I mean, because depending on the treatment, because we've had to do the heartworm for some of our pups, because we've actually, now that I think about it, all of ours have actually come, even one that is passed from cancer. He lived to a ripe old age of 10, but they did come with heartworm, and that could be a potentially pricey treatment, but it's great when the shelter is able to kind of handle some of that. Is that like the daily dose, the monthly dose, where
Yes.
they kind of get the preventative plus an antibiotic. I think that's what I've seen done at some shelters.
Yes, yeah, and that is the method that we are moving forward with,
Okay.
is that slow kill. You could, of course, always talk to your vet if you want to try a more aggressive treatment, but as you said, that can be a lot more pricey. So we definitely recommend going with that in certain situations.
Okay. Next up, we have Max. And actually, I posted, by the way, some of these photos on my Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky this morning. I got a comment from somebody, a contact of mine and a friend who is in the animal world. She has such a soft spot for Rotties. And I knew she was going to comment on this picture.
I have
Captain,
3
oh,
at home. Black and tans are a favorite.
Yeah.
And I saw Max yesterday, and he was in the play yard. They were doing play groups, and just the most gentle, fun-loving dog. He was just watching all the other dogs and getting in with some fun,
Yeah.
but nothing, crazy. He was just really relaxed to be a 2-year-old Rottweiler mix at,
Yeah.
60 pounds.
Yeah, and I love the picture of him with Breeze, and we'll get to that in just a
Yes.
second. But he seemingly is very dog friendly.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I mean, I'm not going to stereotype any sort of breed, but I know that Rotties can be headstrong, in some situations,
Yes.
depending on the dog. Of course, every dog is unique.
Yep.
But this guy looks like he's just a big old lover.
He absolutely is. Him and Breeze both are ones that we have used to be our dog testers, because they're so solid when it comes to other dogs, which is, of course, important when you're doing dog testing,
Yeah.
is to know for sure that they're going to react well in more stressful situations. And they both do phenomenally. Him especially, or him and Breeze especially, I don't understand why they've lingered at the shelter for as long as they have. For him, we believe it might be a case of black dog syndrome,
Okay.
which is an unfortunate reality for a lot of the dogs in our shelter. Everybody knows about black cats and how they tend to get stereotyped, but black dogs, or predominantly black dogs, also tend to be overlooked a weirdly large amount of the time.
Yeah.
So even things as slight as the appearance of a dog can be a barrier sometimes when it comes to adoptions.
Yeah, and it's such a shame. I mean, I'm reading all the bios here, and I really can't see a reason why any of these babies haven't been adopted yet. It
If
makes me sad.
anybody figures it out, please let me know. I would love to address it head on, but yeah, I'm in the same boat. I can't figure out what they're still doing
Yeah.
there.
Well, we have Breeze. So you mentioned Breeze is the other dog tester dog, so
Yes.
she's just got a
Oh my
great
gosh.
personality.
Absolutely. I mean, not a single one of them that we've mentioned today is bad with people, but these two especially are phenomenal with dogs as well. And for as long as she's been there, I cannot understand for the life of me what is the holdup when it comes down to it. You want a cuddly, lovable, sweet dog? I've got one for you right there. She is top tier, top tier.
Oh, what a cutie.
I know.
The tongues.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Well, we've been alluding to the magnificent Fluttershy for a few minutes now, so let's go ahead and get to it. Look at this picture,
Oh my God.
Fluttershy.
Speaking of what long stay may do
Yeah.
to an animal, Fluttershy is a very sad case. She's the only one on here who was owner surrendered to us. She came in with a group of other cats that is, unfortunately, her owner was in a rough spot, couldn't continue to take care of them. But we know for a fact that she was super loving and did amazing in her home previously. Her owner cared about her very deeply, and she got along with the other cats extraordinarily well. But that's not the cat that you're going to see when you come to the shelter. And it's super unfortunate for her, because we know, well, as much as we can know anything when it comes to these animals, that if she was given a chance to go into a home where she could have that quiet and security and space that she needed, she could show how amazing she is. I mean, she's an absolute stunner, of course, but that personality would shine even brighter than that. And we just don't get to see it in the environment. We try our best, like you said, to make the environment as comfortable for them as possible. But these animals come from a position where they get ripped out of everything they've ever known. And then people come in expecting them to be at their best, and that's just not fair to them. And I understand certain situations preclude certain people from giving them that chance, but for anybody who has the ability to take a chance and give them the space to grow, so many of them would just blossom into the most beautiful, beautiful pets ever.
I've seen that, firsthand in the sense of, the volunteer work that I've done before with dogs, and also some of what I've heard from our shelter staff regarding the cats and how, for example, I've worked with dogs, I would go to the shelter and, walk a dog, and they'd be there for maybe 30 days, 45 days. When you see them in the kennel at first, they're jumping, hyperactive. They might even do the leash biting when you go to take them out for a walk, which is they'll try to grab the leash and tug on it. And you're just like, ooh, this dog is just way too much. I just don't understand it. And then you see them, if they're lucky enough to get into a foster, they get several days to decompress, and then you hear how the foster says that things are going, and they're like, oh, it's a totally different dog. You see the pictures. Here's the hyperactive dog just snoozing on a couch now. Now that they feel safe, they're not overstimulated by all the barking noises around them. They're getting out and walking multiple times a day. And with the cats, I've heard that they might even suffer a little bit more from the stimuli at a shelter.
Yeah.
They like to hide, in a lot of these cases, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the cats, we do separate them as much as possible from the sounds that the dogs make. But you'd have to imagine, as much as we try, they're still going to hear that. And for them, that's a predator that's in their space and making them unsecure. And cats especially really love to establish those territories, their sense, their space, their area that they can get away. And there's just not that capability in the shelter. We have to keep them clean. We have to remove those scented items. We have to let people come in to see them, to give them the chance of being in a home, of being in a safe space. And that safety, for the most part, just isn't something that we're able to give them. So it is definitely a lot rougher on them a lot of the time.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Clear the Shelters event that's actually coming up. Obviously, people can come in at any point that y'all are open for normal business this month and beyond. But the 23rd, it's that Saturday, the second to last Saturday of this month is when y'all are doing your big adoption event. Tell us about that and what can folks expect.
Yes. So we have so many vendors that have already signed up. And so we're trying to make it, bigger and better every single year. We've got a lot of new faces, a lot of the faves that have been there in our years past. And of course, as always, so many of our beautiful animals are ready to go to their forever homes at this point. We are trying to raise money to improve our playgroup equipment, make that experience at the shelter as good as possible we can for them. And we are trying to do that through our raffle table this year. So if you or anybody else knows of anybody who would like to make a donation to that raffle table, all of the proceeds from that will go directly to funding that playgroup equipment for them.
Oh, that's great to hear. Captain Yancey, anything that you want to share either about the event or just maybe a need that people can fill at the shelter right now?
Well, as I said before, I think volunteers are always important. We thrive on that. Volunteers and fosters, it really helps move the animals and give us that information that Ariel spoke of. But also at this event, and even when we're not doing a special, it's such a bargain. If you're ready for another dog or cat in your life, you're going to get one that's spayed and neutered, all the vaccines, microchip. We're going to give you a go-home bag with all kinds of treats and wonderful things. And at this event, you're just going to come and it's free. We're going to do a short application process. You can even do a pre-application online to be ready so that Ariel and some of her staff can help go ahead and approve that once you get there. And you come in and it's just a wonderful experience. And you know that you're doing your part for your community and you're helping out that animal that really just needs a home to go decompress in and then turn out to be, your lifelong friend.
Yeah. How could you say, characterize how crucial it is to clear the shelters right now compared to maybe in years past? And I'm thinking specifically, when I say years past, maybe pandemic years, because I heard that was kind of I don't want to say a golden age of adoptions, but things are
Yes.
a lot slower nowadays.
It really, I think it probably just in the last 3 years, we've seen the number of adoptions slow and our population grow. Our human population, which brings more animals, and unfortunately in the southeast, there's not a lot of spay and neuter laws. So we're getting litter after litter throughout the year because we don't have the very harsh winters. So the animals that are outside, that are reproducing, they're just making more animals. And so right now I can say there's numbers for our shelter. We have capacity for 64 dogs, and we're well over that. And we have about 85 cats, and we're well over that.
Wow.
And so we're just trying to move them the best way to give them those safe homes that they'll be able to thrive in, and that they won't have to come back. So a lot of shelters will just adopt to anyone. We want to make sure that we're getting some information beforehand, so that there's not a repeat, that they have to come back and then we have to say that there was a failed adoption. So we work really hard to make sure that they're going out to their forever home right then and there. And a lot of times we also offer a staycation where we say just take the dog home for the night or the long weekend, or the cat, and make sure it's gonna hit with everything going on in your lifestyle. And then you can bring it back if it doesn't work. But we hope that given it that time is going to go into a full-on adoption.
Yeah. I would just add this too for folks who might be thinking of trying out a new animal in a home, especially if you've never owned a pet before, to look up the 333 rule.
Yes.
And
Love the 333
y'all can
rule.
explain that too, but 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months.
Yep.
Yeah, Ariel or Captain Nancy.
Either
I mean,
one,
this
but
is important. I think folks should know it too.
It is a personal goal of mine if I could get everybody to understand the 333 rule, because as much as we've discussed how stressful the shelter environment can be on an animal, being removed out of a situation that you've at least somewhat come to understand into a new one is going to be stressful. So we go by the 333 rule. It is a guideline, but what this says is that for the first 3 days, you just want to give your new pet a chance to decompress in the space. Just get used to the fact that things are different now. Get used to smells and sights and sounds and a new routine that is completely foreign to them. And then the next 3 weeks, they're going to start adapting to that routine. They're going to start showing, okay, this is when we do this. This is, oh, my new doggy sibling or kitty sibling that I'm getting to know slowly. Please, I cannot stress the importance of slow introductions, barrier first until everybody shows that they're comfortable, walks with everybody to make sure that they're comfortable where they can't quite get to each other. They can at least see each other, have positive experiences with each other, and then slowly working up to the point where they can actually interact, play, just to set everybody up for the most success possible.
Yeah.
And then at a 3-month mark, that's the time that you're going to start seeing new weird behaviors popping up. A lot of people are really put off by this, but the reason those start showing up at that point in time is because the animal's starting to feel comfortable. They're like, oh, I understand. This is my place now. I can be myself. I can show you who I am.
Yeah.
And then finally settle in and being like, okay, I understand what the rules are. You've told me everything is good now, and we can start, fully 100% accepting that this is my home. This is
Yeah.
where I belong.
Well, and you talked about slow intros too, so I'll just reiterate slow introductions. When we have brought foster dogs home previously, we will walk them outside,
Yes.
in an area that's a neutral territory so not a yard, because dogs, will think sometimes that their yard that's my yard as well, or even if it's a sidewalk that's like right outside of your home, a place where you feel like your dogs don't have territorialism potentials, and just kind of keep them separated, several feet apart. That's how we do it, and just get them sniffing, get
Yes.
the odors, and then they can
Rewarding positive
Yeah.
interactions like that, absolutely. Give them those treats, give them the love and affection whenever they show that positive attention towards each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sure y'all provide materials or can explain for folks if they have questions about that. Maddie's Fund is also a great website that you might want to try and go to Maddie's Fund, and they have like a website where they have videos and explanations on how to, basically set your pet up for the most success when it comes to introducing. Dogs to cats, dogs to dogs, dogs to kids.
Yes.
Dogs to, believe it or not, and I know y'all know this, sometimes dogs have a thing about men,
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's, I don't know if it's the height thing. Sometimes it's like guys wearing ball caps. It's just the hat, beards.
Yeah.
Dogs are weird.
There's definitely a strong possibility that any animal coming in the shelter has had a higher percentage of negative interactions with men, unfortunately. That is unfortunately the society that we are in currently. This does not mean that men cannot have animals or that every single animal that enters into the shelter is automatically going to hate men. It's just a weirdly high percentage of negative interactions that they've had that may need a little bit more of overcoming.
Yeah. Patience always important, and knowledge, educating yourself on making it the most successful situation. Y'all, did we miss anything?
I will throw in outside training.
Okay.
So a lot of times, what we're getting an animal that came in as a stray, and we absolutely know nothing about it. And a lot of times we'll get, well, what breed is it, or all kinds of random questions that we can't answer. So once you take on the 3-3s, and then you start to learn more about the animal, then go ahead and start integrating some training, some professional training that can help augment some of those behaviors that they really just don't know, they don't understand. So they need that, like you said, the patience, but also that training to go along with it so that they can adjust the best way possible.
Yeah. They are, I guess, trying to figure out what we want from them.
Exactly.
And they don't know until you show them, and preferably in a way that is positive and speaks their language, I guess, if you will, speaking
Yes,
kind of to the
absolutely.
training element that you mentioned. We'll remind folks that on all of my social media platforms, I've got the pictures of King, Luna, Max, Breeze, and Fluttershy. We've got a web story up also with their bios and pictures, information on the Clear the Shelters event in Gaston County, contact information, all the things you need to know. So WCNC.com or WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Anything else, y'all, before we wrap things up?
Come see us.
Yeah.
Come see them.
23rd.
They'd be so happy just to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, if you can't adopt for whatever reason, maybe just think about a volunteer opportunity or donating. All right, thank you so much, Gaston County Animal
Thank
Care and
you.
Enforcement, for joining us here on Live Impact News. Folks, we are going to turn the page now. Of course, we've got Clear the Shelters, and this is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart, being a volunteer at a local shelter here and a dog foster, and really just an all-around animal lover. So I'm really excited to bring this next segment to you right now on Live Impact News. Right now we have Gaston County Animal Care and Enforcement joining us here in the Live News studio. So thank y'all both for joining us. We have Ariel Hensley and we have Captain Kyle Yancey, both joining us from essentially the animal shelter out there in Gaston County to talk about your Clear the Shelters event that's coming up on Saturday, August 23rd. And also some of your adoptables. And I just can't wait for folks to see these pictures because they're absolutely adorable. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having
Absolutely.
us.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so let's start off with Clear the Shelters. This is an annual event that we do here at WCNC Charlotte, and NBC stations do nationwide, partnering with local rescues and shelters to really try to get the movement going with pet adoptions. And either one of you can speak to this if you want, but this is the time of year, really, when you need the help, right?
Yes, I mean, pretty much any time of the year is the time that we need the help, but we do have a certain push during this time because things do start piling back up. When everybody starts going back to school, we do see a drop in those adoptions. So definitely is a great time to come out if you can.
Yeah, and I mean, Captain Yancey, could you speak on what the shelter situation is looking like right now? I mean, I know we've been hearing from some that are, really, really full and just like constantly at max capacity. How are you all doing over there in Gaston County?
The same as the rest of the nation,
Yeah.
I'm afraid. Every shelter, every rescue is at max capacity, if not over, and they struggle to get those animals pushed along to their new homes. So this is one of the nationwide events that's sponsored by Hills, and we want to make sure that we're part of it, that everybody else in our community can come out and find another pet for their loving home.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the fact that obviously this is really big about adoptions, but also it's just great to spread awareness too about the animal shelters and rescues and what they need. Just having done work with local shelters and also just rescues in the area too, I know that, donations are really important. Getting fosters, to step up and help with, a little bit with the overcrowding situation. What do y'all need over there in Gaston County on that front, other than adoptions? And what sort of programs are there for folks who feel like, maybe if I'm not ready to quite adopt, but I still want to help, what can they do?
Yeah, there's some great opportunities in every shelter, but we know in Gaston, if we have volunteers that can come do anything, if they just want to come help, do laundry and wash dishes, or just take a dog for a walk, or take a cat for a walk in a stroller. I mean, any of those things are helpful.
Oh. I'm sorry, I'm just picturing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. And it really helps diminish their stress level. And so when an actual person comes in looking to adopt, they see this animal that is a lot less stressed, is more adoptable, and they can get a good concept of what it's going to be like to have this animal at home.
Yeah, and I mean, you were telling me kind of offline before we started the segment up here, the fact that it does seem like you don't have major barriers to be able to come in and volunteer on that front, that type of volunteer work. So how do folks actually get in the door with that? Do you go online, fill out a form, or you just email someone and say, hey, I feel like I want to help out?
Yeah, we encourage people that if you have spare time, just stop by. You can fill out an interaction form and just understand the rules and regulations. And then they can take the dog for the day and take it to the park or take it to get a pup cup or anything just to help reduce that stress. It gets them out for a while and also helps our staff not have to take that animal out for an extra amount of time. They know that they've got a vacation that day and they were able to enjoy outside time.
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to the fact that there is the element of kennel stress, and we've done stories on that in the past here on WCNC Charlotte, just about how that can take a toll on animals being inside a shelter for a long duration. It's a very unnatural type of living environment. Obviously, the shelters do everything they can to try to make it as hospitable and healthy as possible, but, long term, at a certain point, it just doesn't feel good mentally. But this element of daycation, getting out for a little bit, even a fostering situation, get out for several days, that can make a big difference in how the animals feel and how they present to potential adopters too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. We can also learn a lot of new things about the animals once they have that chance to get out. We've had some people take them to a park where they had access to a lake and found out that these animals loved playing in the water, or found out that they very much did not like the water. Even little things like that adds to what people understand the personality of the animal to be, and can be a great boon in getting them adopted. Also, photos. Photos definitely help me when it comes to that.
I've done actually a daycation program multiple times with the shelter where I volunteer, and I've actually seen in real life the benefits of a daycation program in that I've taken a dog out once, taken photos, basically gotten some notes. I walked him around the park, saw how he might have interacted at far with other dogs, what the reaction was. I kind of do it all safely because you don't want to just do like face-to-face meetings like first time. You don't know how the dog's going to react, but really controlled test environment, if you will, to see how the dog might react if he hears children laughing at the playground or something, and then pass those notes along on social media and actually have had in multiple instances folks come to the shelter that day and were like, I want to foster this dog. It makes a difference.
Definitely, it absolutely does.
So with that, we do want to talk about some of your adoptables, because it sounds like some of these dogs and cat, we have one cat to talk about in particular. Oh, so adorable. I can't wait for you to see her. And these are long timers.
Yeah, every single one that I sent you has been there 30 days or plus. And I believe Fluttershy is our longest resident at this point.
Yeah.
And they're all absolutely phenomenal dogs and cat. King we have, who is...
And we have a photo.
Yes.
So I'll just,
Oh,
if you ever
goodness.
want to look, there are little graphics that we've made.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You can see he's absolutely gorgeous and just the biggest cuddle bug, literally. He is quite large. And he's so loving and so sweet, and a lot of those behaviors that typically put me off of shepherds when it comes to like the mouthiness and stuff, he just doesn't have. But unfortunately, he's been there for so long, and as you can see, he's an absolutely gorgeous dog. Maybe not exactly the kind of thing that somebody would be expecting a shelter to have, but we do have a wide variety of animals available for adoption that will, I promise, be exactly what you're looking for.
I mean, he looks so cute and sweet, and he's 7 years old, and I don't know if I've shared this before, I'm a huge senior softie. I love seniors. I joke that we run a retirement home at our home because we have 2 resident senior dogs, and frequently take on senior foster dogs as well, with either, they're just aged or they have medical conditions, special needs. Not as a rule, we've done some puppies too, but we just find that the personalities, and sometimes they kind of get overlooked for no reason, I feel like,
Yes.
at a shelter.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so sad because a lot of those things that people are looking for in a pet, you find so much more easily in a dog that's grown than you do a puppy.
Yeah.
Puppies are wonderful. They're phenomenal, but they are a lot of work, whereas a more senior dog may be a bit more manageable for most people, and a lot of the times they still have so many good years left on them, which is a big concern, and I understand that, but they have so much love to give in that time.
Yeah.
Talk to us. We are more than happy to go over what that care might look like. If we didn't think the average person could manage it, we wouldn't have them available. At that point, we would have them available for rescue only or something similar. In her case, the medical is skin related.
Okay.
Her skin issues used to be a lot more difficult to manage, but she's come a long way. It's baths at this point.
Okay.
And she has minor heartworm, which we do send the treatment home for with
that's great.
those adoptions.
Yeah, I mean, because depending on the treatment, because we've had to do the heartworm for some of our pups, because we've actually, now that I think about it, all of ours have actually come, even one that is passed from cancer. He lived to a ripe old age of 10, but they did come with heartworm, and that could be a potentially pricey treatment, but it's great when the shelter is able to kind of handle some of that. Is that like the daily dose, the monthly dose, where
Yes.
they kind of get the preventative plus an antibiotic? I think that's what I've seen done at some shelters.
Yes, yeah, and that is the method that we are moving forward with,
Okay.
is that slow kill. You could, of course, always talk to your vet if you want to try a more aggressive treatment, but as you said, that can be a lot more pricey, so we definitely recommend going with that in certain situations.
Okay. Next up, we have Max, and actually, I posted, by the way, some of these photos on my Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter, Threads and Blue Sky this morning, I got a comment from somebody, a contact of mine and a friend who is in the animal world. She has such a soft spot for Rotties, and I knew she was going to comment on this picture.
I have three at home.
yeah.
Black and tans are a favorite.
Yeah.
And I saw Max yesterday, and he was in the play yard. They were doing play groups, and just the most gentle, fun-loving dog. He was just watching all the other dogs and getting in with some fun,
Yeah.
but nothing, crazy. He was just really relaxed to be a 2-year-old Rottweiler mix at, 60 pounds.
Yeah, and I love the picture of him with Breeze, and we'll get to that in just a second. But he seemingly is very dog friendly.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I mean, I'm not going to stereotype any sort of breed, but I know that Rotties can be headstrong, in some situations,
Yes.
depending on the dog. Of course, every dog is unique.
Yep.
But this guy looks like he's just a big old lover.
He absolutely is. Him and Breeze both are ones that we have used to be our dog testers because they're so solid when it comes to other dogs, which is, of course, important when you're doing dog testing,
Yeah.
is to know for sure that they're going to react well in more stressful situations. And they both do phenomenally. Him especially, or him and Breeze especially, I don't understand.
I could say, but I might as well say it. 0 murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened, if you can believe it, how pathetic that is to have to even say it. And I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight or she won't be mayor very long, because we'll take it over with the federal government, run it like it's supposed to be run. The numbers were horrible. It was a crime-infested rat hole, and they do have a lot of rats. We're getting rid of them too. And we made a lot of progress, and it was extremely unsafe, and now it's extremely safe. We had virtually no crime. The number was down 87%, and I'm trying to figure out where was the 13%, because I don't think it existed. The National Guard has been unbelievable, and they're working with the police, and they have some very good people in there. They have some people that shouldn't be police, actually, but they have some great people there. And the Washington, D.C. is a whole different place, and Johnny, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that too, actually.
Oh, yes.
But it's a whole different place. People are excited again. They're going out to restaurants again. That was the other thing I saw numbers, that restaurant business is down in the last week. No. Restaurant business, you can't get into a restaurant. Just really lying people. And that's why people don't understand how bad and how dishonest the press is. I saw one poll that had us at 19% favorable on what we're doing with Washington. Then I saw another one that has us 94% favorable. And I can tell you the 94% is correct. The others are fake, just fake news. They got to get their act together. So bad for our country, so sick actually. So Washington, D.C. is really doing unbelievably well. And the Kennedy Center that we're fixing, I was just there all morning with contractors. We're making it unbelievable. It's going to be unbelievable. It's got great bones, but it needs a lot of work. The World Cup draw will set up the group stage of competition. 48 teams will play in 104 games across 16 North American cities, from Seattle to Vancouver to Atlanta to Miami. It's going to be so exciting for our country. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be one of the largest and most complex events. This will be one of the greatest events, one of the largest. In a way, it's like Johnny said it better. It's like having many Super Bowls in a short period of time. Because each one of these games essentially is a Super Bowl. Some of them are bigger than Super Bowls, actually. but they're essentially, each one of these games is like a Super Bowl. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be the largest, most complex set of events in sports history, and the Kennedy Center will give it a phenomenal kickoff, and we'll be involved, and they'll be working over there for quite a bit of time. We have it all set that they can stay there for the big events, the big press conferences and everything else. And they'll be in a very safe capital. That'll be nice. You don't have to worry about walking down the street, Johnny, okay?
Thank you.
But you could handle yourself.
I could.
Already FIFA is projecting 6 million loyal fans will attend the World Cup events next year, and 6 billion more are going to be watching back home, and they think the $6 billion number is going to be actually a low number. And this will drive more than $30 billion into the U.S. economy and create 185,000 American jobs in a short period of time, too. No sporting event attracts more attention, more fans, more viewers, or more revenue than the FIFA World Cup. And again, I'll just say it's the World Cup, and it's the biggest thing there is in sports, and we have it. And I got it in my first administration, and I was really somewhat devastated, as devastated as I can be. I don't have time to get too devastated. I was very happy that today, as you saw, the group that does this, a government group, radical left group, announced that Trump was right. Took in $4 trillion worth of tariffs, that the $4 trillion are going to reduce the deficit by numbers far greater than they ever expected or heard of. And by the way, the stock market went up 1,000 points. That was as of 10 minutes ago. I can't tell you what happened. A lot of things happened. But the stock market's up almost 1,000 points. And it's basically on the news that the release that just came out from government that the tariffs that everybody was talking about, that the whole world respects us for because of what we did. The tariffs are going to be at $4 trillion. They're going to reduce the deficit by $4 trillion, Mr. Vice President. What do you
Pretty good,
think?
sir.
Too bad it's not 5, right?
That's right.
It's had a huge impact, and the stock market is way up. But this will drive more than $30 billion in U.S. economy and create 185,000 American jobs. No sporting event attracts more attention or more fans or anything else. And I just look forward to the draw. So we're going to have the draw, essentially, Johnny, at the Kennedy Center.
Yep.
And by that time, it'll be in even better shape. We're working on it. It's about a year project to make it. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. You see the way this is looking? Look, nice. I can't tell you how much that gold costs. A lot of money. There's nothing like gold, and there's nothing like solid gold. But this beautiful office needed it. It had to be representative. When we took it over, it was dirty, not clean. I immediately changed the chair and had this beautiful desk renovated, brought out by the White House. People that do this, they did a great job to send it out. We have a craftsman who's great. But this was not appropriate for the Oval Office when I took over. And now you look at all those paintings you're allowed to turn back. All of these are great presidents, and they were all in the vaults. They were in vaults for some cases much more than 100 years. And now they're proudly hanging on the Oval Office walls. And I can't imagine anybody changing it. But they were buried in vaults for over 100 years, many of them. So it's very exciting. People come in, they really love it. They love what we're doing here. They love what we're doing in D.C., and they love what we're doing, most importantly, in the country and the world. I'd like to ask Johnny to say a few words. He's the head of the whole thing. He's been there for a long time, probably the most respected man in sports. He's amazing, actually. Works very hard, and he's got the biggest event in the world coming right here to the United States. And we did a little for Canada. We did a little for Mexico. We thought, see, I'm a good citizen. I said, let them have a little piece. So we gave a little to Canada. See how nice I am? And we gave a little bit to Mexico. And Johnny, please say a few words.
Thank you, President. Great honor for me to be here with you today, President, Vice President, Excellencies. Fantastic to announce what you said, which is the final draw of the FIFA World Cup on the 5th of December here in the capital, in the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. at 12 noon sharp. It will be broadcast live all over the world. 1 billion viewers will watch it, and it will determine, of course, the match schedule, which 48 participating teams will play. You said it, 104 matches in 1 month, 104 Super Bowls. This is not just the biggest, the greatest event not just a sports event, it's a social event as well, with a lot of emotion. We are uniting the world, Mr. President, uniting the world here in America, and we are very proud of that. And those teams, those national teams who will come here to participate in this draw with their coaches, with their presidents, they will all be proud to be part of writing this history. And that's why we brought as well this, which is the winner's trophy. It is the trophy that the winner of the FIFA World Cup wins. Only the FIFA president, presidents of countries, and then those who win can touch it, because it's for winners only. And since you are a winner, of course, you can as well touch it. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It's the winner trophy. The last one who lifted that is Lionel Messi of Argentina. And here it is in the Oval Office in the White House.
Can I keep it?
What do you? Well, you can keep
We're not giving it back.
back.
We're not giving it back. That's serious. Oh, that,
It fits well.
that
here.
goes very well on the wall right over there. We'll put it right below the angels.
It fits well here. I
That's
think.
beautiful, yeah,
You can
that's-
keep it until we have to give it to the next winner.
That's fine. That's a beautiful piece of gold, I will say.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So 6 billion viewers for the World Cup, 6 million coming to the matches, 30 billion economic impact, 185,000 jobs. This will be absolutely fantastic. The biggest event ever, and everything will start here in Washington D.C. at the Kennedy Center, or the Trump Kennedy Center. You'll see that how it will be called on the 5th of September at noon sharp. 5th of December, noon sharp. Then, if I may,
Will they
Mr.
be
President,
doing most of the draws, all of the draws at the Kennedy? Well, how are you going to do that?
Yes, we'll do that at the Kennedy Center. We'll do all the other meetings around it with the coaches, with the broadcasters,
That's
with the
great.
sponsors, everything at the Kennedy Center. The whole
You'll be very
World
happy.
Cup starts, and everyone will be happy
Yeah.
because everyone has qualified for the World Cup, and they didn't yet play a game, so they didn't lose yet the game. So they all think they can
Yeah.
become world champion, right?
They'll all be happy.
Exactly. Now,
By the way, an example, supposing we had a week ago when everybody was being killed and mugged and everything else, despite the phony numbers that were given out, that it was getting better. Brian, do you believe it was getting better or getting worse?
Oh, the crime is getting worse. I mean, I was robbed. It was getting way
What
worse.
after- How did the other guy come out?
Well, he came out with a briefcase.
Yeah, with your-
Yeah. So, Robert 1, Brian 0.
No, but can you imagine, you do this and then you start hearing that they had a 20-year reduction of crime. It was worse during the Biden administration than anybody's ever imagined possible. And I guarantee you, he wouldn't be here if those numbers continued. But now we have total safety, we have total security. And for the border, in 3 months, 0 people. These are done by liberal people that do these charts. 0 people came through our border in the last 90 days. Can you believe it? 0. Last year we had millions of people coming in. And they came in from the wrong locations. They came in a lot of people that shouldn't be here. So now when we have this event in December, it's going to be very safe. Johnny, you can walk
Yes.
down the street with your beautiful wife.
yeah,
You can take her to dinner if you can get a reservation, which I doubt.
they're all full, the restaurants.
I know. They're all full. I heard that too. The restaurants aren't. The restaurants, since we are doing this, are doing great. And many new restaurants are going to open because, as you know, many closed. Many restaurants closed because the crime was so bad. This will be one of the safest places anywhere on earth. So, I really am honored that the National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police. And we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something happens. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York, and we're going to help with. And I think really, I think a lot of these people that you see on television, they are, including the people in this audience, they'll say bad things about me, and then they'll say, "Thank God he's here," because half of them got mugged, and they don't want to get mugged again. But they're, you know, they work for they work for stupid people that are radical left, and they're made to do things and say things that they don't want to be saying. But the people right here are all happy because you're not going to be mugged in Washington, D.C. anymore. I just want to say Johnny's been my friend for a long time. He's an incredible guy, and we will lay out the red carpet. Andrew, you're going to be fantastic. Rick is going to be everything Rick ever touched has always worked out, and he's working with me on the Kennedy Center. And his very good friend was an actor on Broadway for 5 years, right? And I assume he's helping us a little bit, right?
Yes.
And Andrew, you're all excited about it?
Absolutely.
Would you like to say something?
This is a great opportunity, Mr. President, to show off the first 250 years of the United States of America, the greatness, and then the hope and promise of the next 250 years. When you think this World Cup is going to be over our 250th birthday, Mr. President, your leadership, obviously, with FIFA leading the way, this is the largest sporting event in the history of the world under the Trump administration. So very excited.
I just want to say one thing. Andrew Giuliani, so his father is Rudy, the greatest mayor in the history of New York, I think by far. He took a ravaged city, a city that was really under siege. Probably most people thought it was going to survive. He turned it around. He was a great, great mayor. And then they treated him very, very unfairly. You go back and tell your father all of the things that have come out over the last couple of months through Tulsi and through all of the people, Cash, everybody. They've proven your father 100% correct. His father was treated so unfairly. Your father has been 100% correct. And tell him we all love him, okay?
Thank you, Mr.
He's been
President.
amazing. What he had to go through was very, very unfair, nasty. These are bad people. Mr. Vice President, would you like to say something?
Well, sure, Mr. President. Thank you, and thanks to Johnny for being here. We're very thrilled about the World Cup. Just to echo something the President said about crime in Washington, D.C., this is the national capital of the greatest nation in the world, and we had murder rates just a few weeks ago that rivaled some of the worst third world cities anywhere, even in very, very poor regions of the world. Why did we accept that? Why did we allow it to happen? We allowed it to happen because we had broken leadership in Washington, D.C., and unfortunately sitting behind the Resolute desk. What we have shown in just under 2 weeks of taking law enforcement seriously is that the American people can have their streets back if their leadership is willing to put in the time and the resources. Mr. President, you've shown in Washington, D.C. that we can have safe streets again. We've just got to have the political willpower to focus on the bad guys and to give the American people back their communities. We are focused on doing that thanks to the President's leadership.
Thank you. And that's a really very small percentage. It's 2%, 3%, but that 2% and 3% wreaks just havoc throughout a community. People are petrified, and I know there's a couple of the women in the back are shaking their head, yes, yes, yes. I won't report who you are because you'll end up losing your jobs, but it's true. It's amazing, and the police. And you look at the D.C. National Guard, I saw pictures of them last night getting off vans and all, and I saw some bad ones running, but they're not running so much anymore. They're not there. They're just not even trying. You're totally safe. Now there'll be something happening sometime. I don't know. Maybe it won't be for a long time, but this was every night would get reports of people being mugged and kidnapped. There's one woman on television last night. She had a badly busted up nose. And she's, well, I like our streets the way they used to be. And she thinks it's going to happen like by doing nothing. And they say, what happened to your nose? She got slugged by a guy walking down the street, slugged. Her nose will never be the same, I guarantee you, unless it takes a pretty good turn. She wasn't really for us. But she sort of said, well, maybe something has to happen. Before this happened to me, she got whacked. And I don't think she'll ever be the same. She was a half a Trump fan, a woman that would have never been a Trump fan, but she was hit hard. It's not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen anymore. But then we're going to beautify the city too. That's where I was today at Kennedy Center. And we're going to beautify the city. like it hasn't. And we're working with Clark Construction, the biggest construction company in Chicago, and in Chicago and Washington. And the head of Clark is great. He's all over the world, actually, but Washington, I would say, is their home. That's where they do the best work, the biggest work. And they've been doing a fantastic job. So you're going to have a fantastic, clean, beautiful place. It's going to be better than it ever was before, literally better than it ever was before. We'll get it done very quickly. And I want to thank Clark because they're doing a lot of work in a lot of different locations, but they've been fantastic for getting us the right contractors and the people that can really do the job right. And Johnny, did you want to say something?
Yes, one more thing, because as you rightly say, with security and beautifying cities and the whole country, we want people to come and enjoy and have fun. And that's why this is not just the most iconic trophy in the world of sport, but we start on the 10th of September the sale of tickets for the FIFA World Cup. And we have the first ticket here for the final.
Good. Wow.
For you.
Oh, good. That's cool. Wow.
It's, of course, row 1, seat 1. It's ticket number 4547. And it's for the final in New York, New Jersey. And so you have your ticket already for the final. All the others, 10th of September, start getting your tickets.
That's beautiful, yeah.
6.5, 7 million tickets. Fans will enjoy
You do
the
records.
security here. Will be fantastic.
You're going to do record business, I think.
100%.
Christy, would you like to say something?
Yeah, Mr. President, millions of people will come to this country, and we'll make sure they get their travel documents, their visas, that they want to come here and spend their money and enjoy this sporting event. It'll be the largest event in the world. And sir, you're reminding me of something that my dad used to say all the time when I was growing up. He would say, Christy, you kids need to look like you respect yourself before anybody's going to respect you. And in this country, when people look at our streets, when they look at our capital, you're bringing respect back to this city. And people will respect our country more because it's safe, it's clean, it's beautiful. And what you're doing is transforming this nation by making sure that our laws are upheld. And millions of people are going to come and be able to enjoy it next year, and I'm excited about that. Thank you for doing that.
Well,
for
our
us.
country is respected again. And a year ago, we had a dead country. I'm telling you, it was a dead country. It was a country that had lost its way. It was a country that was going to fail. Look, even today, where they say $4 trillion in reductions of deficits, and this was totally unexpected. They didn't expect it. I mean, I don't know where they've been, the people that do this stuff, but it's terrible. I want to thank Christy for another reason. I said to her 2 weeks ago, I said, Christy, do me a favor. I built hundreds of miles of wall. I built the same wall that the Border Patrol asked me to build. It wasn't my first choice. I wanted to do concrete plank and everything nice, but you wouldn't have been able to see through it. So I had Border Patrol in, and they tested everything else. And we gave them steel wall, high-grade steel, very hard to cut. And we gave inside that is 9,000-pound concrete, which is a very tough concrete. Inside that is rebar, a big, fat piece of rebar. So you have all different materials that are very hard to cut, and you need different instruments to cut each one. And I said, Christy, we got to get a coat of paint on it. And I didn't know she was listening, but I said, we got to get a coat of paint, and it should be black, because black makes the steel very hot. It's untouchable. You could fry an egg on it. And if you got a good black, flat paint, it would look beautiful. It will preserve it from rust. And that was it. And I gave it to her along with 30 other things, and she's done such a good job on the border with Tom Holman and the group. Tom Holman's a fantastic guy, what the job he does, and the way they work together. So I turned on last night, and I see Christie's painting the wall. And it looked beautiful, by the way, when that paint went over there.
And it's hot.
It's hot.
Yes, it is.
It's hot. If it's white, it's not hot. If it's black, it's going to be very hard to climb that sucker. It's not going to be easy. But it's black and a high quality black. You know,
It is.
it really looked good.
Yeah, we got
Is
the
that going
paint
to be
you
a
told us
two-coat
to.
job or a one
No,
coat?
just one coat.
One coat.
We
Good.
used the paint you told me to buy.
Yep. The
Yep.
two-coat will take place in 3 years from now. Right? We'll do the second coat. But it looks beautiful. But thank you very much. I didn't know you were listening to that,
Absolutely.
because we
I'm
talked about 7 different subjects, and all of a sudden I see her out there painting with a lot of painters and everything else. But it was a beautiful thing to say. Would you like to say something? You've been such a big part of this. Please.
We're just, Mr. President, we're delighted to be here today for this announcement, but we're also looking forward to having you at the final.
Oh, yes.
On July
Oh, yes.
19th
No, we'll be
in New
there.
York, New Jersey.
We're going to be there. A lot of people are going to be there.
A lot of people.
I'd like to thank you all. Do you have any questions on FIFA, first of all?
It's going to be a big event at the Kennedy Center. Do you intend to take part in it? Will you have a part to play on December 5th?
I might play. I mean, I see the money that these soccer players, you know, we call it soccer, but I see the money that these soccer players are making. I may try and play. I'm a very good athlete. My son is a very good athlete, and he's a good soccer player. He's on the tall side for soccer. He's 6'9". That's pretty tall, but
That's pretty
it's
cool.
on the tall side.
He's good.
It's on the tall side, but he's good. But no, I may put on shorts. I look extremely good in shorts and join the play. You know, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be good.
Many foreigners who want to come to attend the event are concerned about the visa situation. Can you reassure them?
Yeah, they're going to have a very easy time getting in. Certain countries are going to be very, very easy, and other countries are going to be obviously a little bit more difficult. Would you like to explain that, Kristen?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a process set up that we'll be implementing on getting visas approved. Everybody will be thoroughly vetted, but they'll be welcome to this country. It'll happen quickly, and we're excited for them to come. So I would hope that around the world, people know that the United States is excited to bring their family here to enjoy this event.
America welcomes the world.
Yes.
And I can really, from the collaboration that we have, testify for that, absolutely.
And I just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay?
Mr. President.
On
Yes.
that subject, have you talked to Vladimir Putin about the fact that yesterday a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine? What's your reaction to
I
that?
told him I'm not happy about it. And I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I settled 7 wars, and actually, if you think about pre-wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. No, I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens. I think over the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out which way it's going to go. And I better be very happy.
Mr. President, I was actually a very good call with Prime Minister Carney of Canada yesterday morning.
Yes.
Actually, Canada is taking away some retaliatory tariffs.
He's
so-
removing his tariffs, yeah.
Exactly.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice. And we're going to have another call soon.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a very good call.
You're getting closer towards an
Well, I like
agreement
him.
on trade?
I like him. You know, look, I'm fighting for the United States. Canada and Mexico take a lot of our business over the years, over 25, 30 years, especially during the Biden years. They took a lot of our business, and it's basically all coming back into the United States now. Well, hot as a pistol, and it's coming back in. Because of tariffs and the incentives we give, it's coming back. And it's impossible, I think, for another country to stop it. And we are working on something. We want to be very good to Canada. I like Carney a lot. I think he's a good person. And we had a very good talk yesterday. So I think it'll be good.
Mr. President, I have a question about the search of Ambassador Bolton's home. The Vice President recently just did an interview saying that it's about classified documents, but that there's also broad concern about him. What are the concerns?
Well,
that
I
you
haven't
have?
spoken to Pam in the group yet, but I will be. I saw that just like everybody else. I try and stay out of that stuff. I'm allowed to be, and I'm chief law enforcement officer, believe it or not. You know, I don't like to go around saying that, but I am. That's the position. But I purposely don't want to really get involved in it. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. I thought he was a sleazebag, actually. And he suffers major Trump derangement syndrome, but so do a lot of people, and they're not being affected by anything we do. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that. I'll find out about it. But if you believe the news, which I do, I guess his house was raided today. But my house was raided also, called Mar-a-Lago. They went through everything they could, including my young son's room and my wife's area. They went through her drawers, as the expression goes. They went through everything you can imagine. And when she came back, she looked, she said, she's very neat, you know, she's meticulous, and she looked and she said, "Whoa, this wasn't the way that she had it." So, you know, so I know the feeling. It's not a good feeling. Thank you.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, how long will you give Putin?
A couple of weeks. We're going to figure it out. We'll find it.
Do you think you'll have to intervene at some point?
Look, it takes two to tango. You understand that. I wanted to have a meeting with those two. I could have been at the meeting, but and a lot of people think that nothing's going to come out of that meeting. You have to be there. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But we're going to see. In the meantime, people continue to die. But I've solved 7 of them where they were in wars for 31, 35, and 37 years. We had 3 of them that were for more than 30 years, Johnny, and I got them solved. And we solved one that could have been a nuclear war with India and Pakistan. That was getting ready to be a nuclear war. I solved them all. And this one, I thought we would have had it done by now, but it's more difficult. There's a lot of anger, a lot of hatred. There's a tremendous amount of hatred there. So. But we'll see what happens. I think in 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going. Because I'm going to go one way or the other. And they'll learn which way I'm going.
Mr. President, if I got 2 questions for you, one on FIFA, the other one on DC. Can you talk about the economic impact that FIFA will have in these cities, and what's your message to the mayors to get their cities prepared, not only the beautification process, but also the safety aspect?
Well, Los Angeles is an example. You know, it's poorly run. We have a mayor there that can't even get permits to the people that lost their houses. Lee Zeldin got every permit. The hardest permit is the federal permit. Within 20 days, every single permit was there for the people to build their houses. But people are writing us and they're saying they won't give us. The mayor is incompetent. The governor's incompetent. You know, Gavin. I know Gavin very well. He's an incompetent guy with a good line of bullshit. And he doesn't get the job done. And frankly, those people want to build their houses. It's terrible. They could have been built. Some of them could have been built already. But think of it, the federal government that has the most complex part, and it's the most complex environmental thing to do. We got it, everybody had it within 30 days. And they're not even close to getting their permits. And now they're talking about taking some of those sites and building low-income housing on them. These are high-end neighborhoods. And I'm all for low-income housing. I built a lot of low-income housing. I know all about 236. I know every program that there is in the government. I used every one of them. I know more about low-income housing than probably almost anybody. And it's great. It's fine. It's wonderful. But you don't build it in Pacific Palisades. You don't build it there. And you don't build it in the other areas that burned down. So they're talking about putting up low-income housing. And you talk about riots. They're going to have riots if that happens because you're taking the people's property away. They want to build their houses, and they're unable to get permits from the mayor and from the governor. And that's a terrible thing. But, and let me tell you, if I didn't send in the troops in Los Angeles, Johnny wouldn't be in Los Angeles. You wouldn't be having your World Cup there. I sent in the troops, and we kept it. And even the police commissioner, the sheriff and the police commissioner, they all said the same thing. They said, we could have never handled what was happening. You saw that, you were there. He said, we could have never handled what was happening. And then you hear Gavin Newsom, after it's all quelled, you hear Newsom get up and said, we could have done this for ourselves. No, they couldn't have. And if they could have, I wouldn't have taken the chance either.
Okay, my second question is on crime prevention. Would you be open to expanding the national concealed carry to apply to D.C. like it does in other states like Texas?
Yeah. Well, they have it in some states and they feel strongly about it. As you know, I'm in favor of it. People have to protect themselves. I'm a Second Amendment person, very simply. People have to be able to protect themselves. Especially like in Washington, you walk down the street, a guy comes up and slugs you. He's got a pistol in his hand. You can be tough, you can be in great shape, you can be a powerful person, or you can be a guy that weighs 100 pounds with a gun in your hand. Right. And I'll bet on the guy with the gun 100% of the time, right? And so you need protection. So I'm a Second Amendment person all the way. Yeah, please.
President Trump, you said this morning that you're working with Congress to get $2 billion to help clean up DC. Have you had any conversations with Mike Johnson and John Thune about where they're going to get that money from?
Which money?
You said this morning that you're going to get $2 billion from Congress to help clean up DC.
Yeah, I've spoken to Mike Johnson. I've spoken to John Thune, the Senate, the House. And I think it's going to be very easy to get. It's going to be not a lot of money. I wouldn't even know where to spend the number that you mentioned, but it's going to be money to beautify the city. Yeah, they're ready. Everybody wants to save DC. In one way, it's the easiest. The violence was more than any other city in the country, actually, by far. It may have been more than any other city in the world, if you could think. You know, we looked at some of the worst cities in the world, it was worse. And that's why it angers me to see the mayor saying about how they have it on the slide. Not on the slide, it was worse than ever. Yeah, we have no problem getting that money. That money will come out of Congress. I think it'll be even bipartisan.
And is the plan?
I mean, I would imagine Democrats would vote for that one.
Is the plan to get it before the September 30 spending deadline on the Hill?
Well, I don't know if there is a deadline, because if I declare a national emergency, which this was, that ends the deadline. So, I mean, I keep seeing about a 30-day deadline, of which we have 22 days left or something. But if I think we're in great shape here, that's one thing. But if I don't, I'm going to just say it's a national emergency. And if I have a national emergency, I can keep the troops there as long as I want. If people are not going to want to have the troops, and 30 days, you know, it's one thing to get them out. It's another thing to keep them out for a long period of time. You've got to train people. You can't do this. You can't bop people over the head. And a lot of those people are in courts right now, going to court. They're going to go to jail for a long time. So that's going to take more than 30 days. But if I have to, I'll declare a national emergency, which I don't think I'll have to do. Yeah.
Mr. President, you said in 2 weeks you'll know whether you go.
Yeah, I
one
think I'll
way or
know.
the
I
other.
think I'll know the attitude of Russia and, frankly, of Ukraine. It takes two.
What are the 2 ways you can go at the end of 2 weeks then?
Well, then I'm going to make a decision as to what we do,
Or
and it's going to be a very important decision. And that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both. Or do we do nothing and say it's your fight? Look, I would have never been in this war if I were president. You wouldn't have had this war. It was never going to happen. This was caused by stupid people that fought. And you know, people say, well, how do we know? Because for 4 years, it was never even a subject. And Vladimir knew, and you see his picture right here. It was nice that he sent, but Vladimir knew very strongly we wouldn't have stood for it. It wouldn't have happened. 100% wouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And now they're losing from 5 to 7 young kids. Think of it, you're a parent and your son is leaving. He's Russian or he's Ukrainian. And he's leaving and they're waving goodbye. Nice, beautiful kid. Nice crew cut, all set. He wants to be a soldier. And goes there, first week he has his head blown off. And he's no different than you people, me. And it doesn't matter where. I mean, I solved a problem in the Congo that was vicious. Rwanda and the Congo, the Republic of the Congo. And they were fighting for 31 years, and it was machetes. People were getting their heads chopped off. That was going on for 31 years. I got it solved. You saw it. They came to the White House and we signed an agreement. It was amazing. People can't believe we got it done. I love to stop killing. I really do. People thought it would be just the opposite. Hillary Clinton said, oh, he'll get us into a war. No, I'm getting everybody else out of wars.
Are you saying there's a real possibility then that you do nothing if Putin doesn't come to the table for a ceasefire or try to end the
I'll
war?
see whose fault it is. If there are reasons why, I'll understand that. I know exactly what I'm doing. We're going to see whether or not they have a meeting. That'll be interesting to see. And if they don't, why didn't they have a meeting? Because I told them to have a meeting. But I'll know in 2 weeks what I'm going to do. I have pretty good ideas.
Your Justice
already.
Department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today.
That's
Are you in support of them
I'm in
releasing
support
all of them?
keeping it open.
If they wanted to
Innocent
release-
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be. You know, people, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. So we had the greatest 6 months, 7 months in the history of the presidency, and the Democrats don't know what to do, so they keep bringing up that stuff. But it affected them. Bill Clinton was on his plane and went to the island supposedly 28 times. I don't want to bring that up, frankly. You have Larry, whatever his name is, Summers, the head of Harvard, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Nobody ever talks about that. I mean, but I don't want to hurt Larry Summers, but he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, this is a Democratic hoax to try and get the significance of what we've done over the past 7 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They say it's #1 in history. What we've done, including stopping 7 wars. I mean, just include that. And now you look at the stock market today. It's way up to start off with from where I took it. And this market was going to crash. If Joe Biden or Kamala were president, this market we would have had a crash like in 1929. You're not going to have that. It's only a question of how high is it going to go. You know, I had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And despite COVID, we had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And we're going to blow it away this time. I was always good at making a lot of money. And whether it was for myself or whether it was, I like doing it this way better. I mean, I like making it for the country. Our country's been ripped off by friend and foe, nations all over the world ripped off. And the friends have been much worse than the foes for the most part. And they're not ripping us off. We just signed a deal with the European Union. They're paying us essentially $950 billion, like a signing fee. They're going to buy $750 billion worth of energy. They weren't buying much of our energy. They're very smart in doing it. And as you know, Ursula was here a couple of days ago having to do with the people, the leaders that we had a great, people said they've never seen anything like it. Well, we had the leaders of Europe right here in the Oval Office. And she's so happy that she has an agreement. But people aren't ripping us anymore. We're run by, this country is run by smart people now.
Mr. President, in Israel... Two questions. One is about Intel. There have been reports that you're considering taking a stake in Intel. Can you tell us
About the 10%?
About the 10%.
Yeah, I met a man, he was a very nice man, and I called for his removal because I saw something by a man named Tom Cotton, a senator from Arkansas, who's a great guy, friend of mine, supporter of mine, big supporter, I'm a supporter of his too. And he wrote a pretty nasty story about the head of Intel. And I said, well, if that's right, he should resign. And he came in, he saw me, we talked for a while. I liked him a lot. I thought he was very good. I thought he was somewhat a victim, but you know, nobody's a total victim, I guess. And I said, you know what? I think the United States should be given 10% of Intel. And he said, I would consider that. I said, well, I'd like you to do that because Intel has been left behind, as you know, compared to Jensen and some of our friends, NVIDIA, some of the people and the people in, because Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company in the world. And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president that would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or 200 or 300 or 500% tariff, anybody that sells into the United States has to pay. They wouldn't have left. They would have never left, and we wouldn't have. So in the meantime, we had people that were, in some cases, good politicians that weren't good on trade. I loved that man, but he was not good on trade. I totally disagreed. He allowed the car industry to be taken out of this country. We lost 50% of our car industry. But that's all coming back. It's all coming back. But if somebody would have said that with Intel, would be a giant right now. Now with that, they've had some bad management over the years and they got lost. And I said, I think you should pay us 10% of your company. And they said, yes. That's about $10 billion. I don't get it. This comes to the United States of America. And I said, I think it would be good having the United States as your partner. He agreed. And they've agreed to do it. And I think it's a great deal for them. And I think it's a great deal. He walked in wanting to keep his job, and he ended up giving us $10 billion for the United States. So we picked up $10 billion. And we do a lot of deals like that. I'll do more of them. If somebody has, like we have restrictive covenants with Jensen. We have, it's NVIDIA. And to unrestrict the covenant. Nothing to do with losing our powers or military or anything, because that I wouldn't do. But there are things you can do that don't affect us, that actually help us. And if we're going to give somebody a restricted covenant, we have a strong restrictive covenant on certain industries. And I will absolutely give somebody a opening on a to do a lot of business, which is good for us, as long as it doesn't hurt us in a security or military way. And if I do that, I think the country should be paid, because anybody else, I have it in real estate where I'll have a deal with somebody and I'll have them restrictive covenant. Then they'll come back and they'll say, I'd love to be able to build over here, but I'm not allowed to because you have me covered, you have me restricted. I say, I'll let you build over there, but pay me a lot of money. No different. But the country never did it because the country was run by foolish people.
You said Chicago might be next. Are you making, have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking to do that? Or what are other cities as well?
I haven't spoken to the mayor. He's grossly incompetent. I haven't spoken to the mayor. No. When we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did D.C. Chicago is very dangerous, great place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago, I think. But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago was our greatest city, actually. Bob Tisch, a great friend of mine, passed away. He used to own the Giants and very successful Lowe's. He said Chicago, I think they had their main office in Chicago. He said Chicago and San Francisco are the two greatest cities in the world. Now you look at what the Democrats have done to San Francisco. They've destroyed it. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. And, you know, it's just different. We can clean that up too. We'll clean that one up too. Now, if everything works out, and we've already had calls from other cities, quiet calls from Democrats. We'd love you to come here because they've lost control of their cities. I'm not going to say because I don't want them to lose their elections. But we've had calls from Democrats and calls from people generally. We'd love you to come here because we'll straighten out the problems.
In Israel, the families of hostages in Israel, the families of hostages are opposed to the reoccupying of Gaza. Why is the U.S. still
Well, not
supporting
all of them. And you have to understand, I'm the one that got all of the hostages out. You got a lot of people out. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be out. I worked with Bibi and I worked with Steve Witkoff. But if it wasn't for me, you would have all these hostages would most likely be dead right now, every one of them. So they all come up here. They all come in groups of 10, 12, 13, and many of them, and I've gotten to know a lot of them. They're great people. What they had to go through is incredible. But so now they have 20, but the 20 is actually probably not 20 because a couple maybe aren't around any longer. It's a terrible thing. No, I don't like anymore. I said, you know, when you get down to 20, they're not going to make deals anymore. And they didn't. And then I put out a statement, as you know, that was a tough statement, go in and get them. And they said, we'll give you 10, we'll give you 10. I don't know what Israel's doing, but they were willing now immediately to give us another 10. The situation has to end. It's extortion and it has to end. And we'll see what happens. I actually think they're safer in many ways if you went in and you really went in fast and you did it. And people can't forget October 7th, remember that. I'm friendly with all groups. I won the Arab vote in Michigan. I did so great with the Arab vote, remember? I started off at 0, I ended up winning. I wouldn't say the candidate was the greatest, but I would have won against anybody. They're great people. But we have to do things properly. And you know, I'm very proud to say I got the hostages out. You have hundreds of people that are because of me. And now we have that final little group of people. And Hamas knows that if they give them, that's probably the end of their lives. So it's not easy to get. And I know if you're a parent, you just don't care. I want my baby back. They want their babies back. They want their kids back. And I understand it. But I got them out and did a good job. And we're doing everything we can to get the hostages out. Thank you all very much. Yes?
So Jackson Hole, Jay Powell today said, he suggested that they might cut interest rates, but they haven't proceeded.
Well, we call him too late for a reason. He should have cut him a year ago. He's too late. You know, we have a stock market that's up 1,000 points today. I better be careful because I go out there and I'll see it's down 1,000, right? But it's up 1,000 points when I came in here. We have a country that the market's the hottest it's ever been. The country's better than it's ever been. We have a military that I rebuilt largely in my first term. We had a great, successful first term, but this is going to be even better. But we rebuilt it. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan, but relatively small compared to the overall. But I think it was the most embarrassing day and period in the history of our country that they allowed those 13 wonderful people, but it's really hundreds of people were killed. And they don't talk about the 48 that was so severely wounded with no legs, no arms, nobody ever mentions them except me. But that was the worst day, the most, it just showed how incompetent. Frankly, if that didn't happen, I really believe that you might not have had the problem with Russia. I think Putin was sitting there watching these stupid people running our country and said, this is a time to invade. It's, this is a time. And then Biden made the statement, well, he can do a small incursion. When he said that, it was off to the races, right? When he said he can do a small incursion, remember that? I was surprised he knew the word incursion. I didn't think he had that good of a vocabulary. I want to thank everybody. It's very important to me and to everybody up here, the World Cup. And Johnny has been so incredible. I mean, he's really a great leader. I mean, to think, I said, Johnny, do it by phone. You don't have to come. No, he said, I'll come. And he flew all night long to be here and listen to this about how great we're doing in D.C. But he's a fantastic leader, and this will be your most successful World Cup ever. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much. Yeah, can we win it, Mr. President?
I don't know. That's I watch some of those teams go around. They go down that field. I don't know. But let me ask you: what chance does America have of winning?
Well, the home team always has a good chance to win. It depends
See,
how
he's
it
a good diplomat.
starts. No, but it has some good
But we
players.
have a shot. We have
Of course, you have a chance.
Will Bear be going to any of the games, Mr. President?
I'd love to have him. He'd love to. He's very tall. Maybe we could make him a goalie. The goalies are very tall now, right? I
Yeah,
know.
goalies are very tall.
The goalies, well, he'd be a perfect goalie.
100%.
At his height, he'll be a great
Yeah,
goalie.
exactly.
So we'll put him on the American team.
Yeah.
No, but
Good
do
goal.
the Americans have a chance of like getting into the quarterfinals?
Yes,
right?
definitely. No,
Yeah.
the quarterfinal, definitely. But then, as the tournament goes on with the public 250 years of United States, let's not forget, they will all feel energized about that.
You know, it's amazing. The talent is really great when you watch these things. I went to the game 2 weeks ago, and it was a big upset. But you look at these people; the way they pass it. It's amazing, really amazing. It's a great art, right? It's a great talent.
It is incredible.
You know the expression.
Out of the hat?
This what?
Will you draw the names of the matches? Will you?
I don't know. That's
That's
something. He's the boss.
That's an interesting proposal.
He's the boss.
We'll discuss that.
It's going to be great, and I think the American team is going to do well. I mean, I hear it's a very good team. Good luck, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Keep a lot of those photos.
guys.
Thank
No, I just got one.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We're done.
We're done. Thank you.
It was a nice photo. Thank you very much. everybody.
You guys keep moving.
Thank you. Andre, this way. Everyone forward this way.
Thank you, everybody. Keep moving.
Thank you.
Keep moving. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. That's Carlene Bragg. It's Friday.
Hey, it's Friday.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. We just heard from President Trump live here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, announcing there at the White House that the draw for the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup will take place at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. on December 5th. So it's coming up, be here sooner than later. He made that announcement just a bit ago. You got a chance to check that out live. We actually started a little late. I just want to let you know in case you tuned in at 12:30 and you didn't see us or you didn't see my face and Carlene's face or hear Carlene's voice. We started a little late,
Yes.
but we're here.
We're here. We made it.
It's not late. We're on time.
We're on time.
We're on time. So it is Friday. Thank you for hanging with us. A lot going on, a lot happening. We're expected to get at any moment now an update from Governor Stein on Hurricane Aaron, its impacts. Speaking of the weather, let's check in with meteorologist Majestic Storm with our full forecast.
I'm WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm. We've been holding on to cloudy skies all day long, and really that's going to be the trend as we're heading into the afternoon and this evening. But all of that widespread and heavy rain, it already moved through the area, and while we head into the later half of our Friday, we could see a little bit of rain here and there, but overall the chances are low. Heading into this weekend though, it's going to be all about those below average temperatures. Temperatures won't be cold by any means, but it is going to be much cooler than where we should should be for this time of the year. Scattered rain showers on again, off again will be possible. And then next week, finally, the return of some sunshine and mild conditions. If you have any plans for your Friday afternoon or Friday night, I mean, it's not a bad day. We're looking at temperatures that'll be pretty comfortable into the 70s. I think we could hit some low 80s and possibly a little bit of sun breaks here and there. But with that, we're also watching those small rain chances that may develop really at any point for our Friday. 20% chance really through the majority of our day, so meaning most of us, we won't see any rain, but we can't rule out a little bit of sprinkles developing or even an isolated storm that could even bring a possible downpour. Here's our futurecast though. This is what radar could look like as we're heading into the later half of the day. Here's about 3 o'clock. All of that white is indicating the cloud coverage there. And again, when I'm talking about very spotty shower and storm activity, I'm talking about very, very isolated. Not everyone will see it, that's for sure, but I think we could see some form. Here's about 3 o'clock right around Chester or even perhaps up towards the mountains or the foothills, but generally not a bad second half of the day. By 6 o'clock, we're getting some indication that we could have a little bit of clearing. Wouldn't that be nice for our Friday evening from Taylorsville out towards Statesville, but still seeing a lot of white indicating a lot of cloud coverage. Still trying to hold on. They are stubborn and they are thick, and we'll be waking up to some more cloud coverage tomorrow for your Saturday. So if you want to wake up, you want to take the kids to the park, maybe you want to go for a long run, it's going to be mild, pretty comfortable as far as those temperatures go, but unfortunately not a picture perfect, beautiful Saturday morning. As we're heading into the later half of our Saturday, again, mainly cloudy skies, and we can't rule out some mountain showers or thunderstorms. Very limited chance with that though. There's the precipitation over the next 10 days. Overall low, but not zero today, and into tomorrow we'll bump those up to about 30% on Sunday, and then heading into early next week, the sunshine returns, the temperatures start to rise, and those rain chances, they're actually going to go down. Let's take you up to the mountains where temperatures today are going to be rather mild, 60s and 70s. 70 degrees today in Boone. Across Lenoir, plan for mid to upper 70s. 77 is all you're getting to out there in Monroe. As we're looking at Gastonia, about 80 degrees for you in Shelby, and much of the same out towards Rock Hill. So be prepared for that. Temperatures are going to gradually get a little bit warmer. By early next week, we'll start to see them rise to right around 90 degrees on Monday. This is for Charlotte. And then they drop again back below our average before they start to gradually warm back up. Hurricane Erin is far away from the Carolinas, moving east-northeast at 28 miles an hour. It's still a Category 1 hurricane. While we won't get any major impacts anymore across really the eastern seaboard, we are still dealing with dangerous rip currents. Keep this in mind, especially if you're heading out to the beach this weekend or even into early next week. Here's that 7-day forecast as we are heading into the weekend. Cloudy skies today, low 80s. Lows tonight dip down into the upper 60s and gradually warming by Sunday. Have a great weekend.
You have a great weekend, Majestic. I feel like I always have to reply.
She can't hear you.
But I know
I'm
she
sure
can't.
she appreciates the sentiment.
Yeah, I just feel like I have to reply sometimes, which is not a bad thing. Okay, so last night, Carolina Panthers played their last preseason game. They played 3 preseason games, if you're keeping score. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
We got a chance to see a lot of the backups, guys.
How was it, Nicholas?
It was. I am always interested to watch preseason games for my squad. I don't like watching other teams' preseasons. I like watching the Panthers preseason.
Yeah.
Because you get a chance to see guys who probably won't play a lot during the regular season, are fighting for a roster spot, or guys that could end up being stars of the team. I remember watching a young Steve Smith play in preseason and become a star.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys who almost didn't make the roster. Back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
A guy like Jake Delhomme played in preseason. So you get to see those guys play. You get to see who's going to be on the roster, who can make an impact, and even some of the a lot of the rookies, you get the chance to see them play. Guys who are fighting for starting positions as well, and so it's cool. It was cool. So I got a chance to chit-chat with sports director Nick Carboni about the last preseason game. Oh, yeah. Adam Thielen.
Yep.
He might be traded. So he might be going back to his old spot after leaving that spot a few years ago. So that's still out there because the Panthers have a crowded young receiver room. Got a chance to talk about that. And also Taylor Moton, who was emotional a couple of weeks ago. He didn't know if he was going to be a Panther at the end of the season, but he will be here at least for the next couple of years. So we had a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up with Carboni. Let's take a listen in to that conversation right now.
Here, fresh off the last preseason game last night. Before we get into sort of the new news of what's happening with the Panthers, possible transactions, you were there at the game. Give me a recap. What did you see? What stuck out to you from last night's game?
Hey, Nick, good morning. Yeah, and listen, when we watch those preseason finales, you really have to watch deep under the roster. So we're watching how the receiver room played out. You know, Bryson Tremaine, a younger receiver who the Panthers picked up this offseason, did not play. And after the game, Dave Canales said that he thought he had a good chance to make the roster. Well, Dave Canales basically decides who makes the roster. So to hear him say that was very interesting and makes me lean towards Bryson Tremaine being one of the receivers that sticks around on the 53-man roster. Meanwhile, Jimmy Horn Jr., you know, kind of getting some light work out there with the back end of the roster, and that's kind of what we've seen from the 6th-round pick out of Colorado, despite his physical tools, despite, you know, fans clamoring for him to be on the field right away. When you see it play out like that, it makes you wonder, you know, is he even going to be on the roster? Are they going to put him on the practice squad where he's at risk of being plucked by another team, putting him on their 53-man roster? Also watching the kicking competition, Dave Canales tried to give each kicker a half. Rookie Ryan Fitzgerald got the first half, and he got an immediate opportunity, nailed a 43-yard field goal, had one of 50-plus last week, hit his extra point, and did a nice job on kickoffs. And with the new kickoff rules, the Panthers are trying to get their kickers to get the ball on the ground because analytics show that when the ball hits the ground, you know, things can happen and turnovers can happen. He did a good job of that, too. The veteran Matthew Wright, he really got no opportunities. Dave Canales actually declined to give him a field goal at the end of the game and instead just ran out the clock. So I think when you look at the receiver room, interesting things in terms of who played, who didn't. And then also the kicking competition. I really think the rookie from Florida State, Ryan Fitzgerald, probably has the leg up. But you look across the field and the Steelers have a rookie kicker that went 4 for 4, and he's probably not going to make Pittsburgh's roster because they have Boswell. So it could come from outside the organization as well.
I was you brought up Jimmy Horn Jr. I was expecting to see him a lot more in the first half. It does make you wonder. He has shown some great things in camp. I've heard great reports. We talked about it too. He looks fast out there, but he's a small guy. It makes you wonder, like, is he going to make the roster?
Well, and the other thing, Nick, is special teams. He got a couple of cracks at kick return last night in the second half, but fellow rookie and fellow draft classmate Trevor Etienne, the running back, who not only showed some juice in the run game yesterday, he also has been, you know, taking more reps at return than Jimmy Horn Jr., which is, you know, another sign that, you know, it's for Dave Canales and his staff. It's about the more you can do, and that's a big emphasis on special teams. So if he's not cracking that top 5 list of receivers, then he's not cracking the top couple of returners. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because he has so many physical tools. He just needs to develop them, and he's clearly been working on it. He's with his position coach all the time. It'd be hard to risk losing him by putting him on the practice squad, where another team can claim him at any time and if they put him on their 53-man roster. So be interesting to see how it plays out. But I really think Bryson Tremaine, kind of this unknown guy out of Stanford, has bounced around for a few years, tall guy, big athlete. I think he's on the 53. I mean, and it'll be interesting to see what else happens with the receiver room, because there's reports this morning that the Vikings are very much interested in trading for Adam Thielen.
Realistic, you know, is this? I know these reports are coming out. There have been rumors for a couple of weeks now, but Adam Thielen, I mean, he's been with the with the Panthers the past couple of seasons. He's a well-liked guy with an organization, a leader within the locker room. It kind of sounds hard to like let a guy like that go.
It is. And listen, everybody thinks the receiver is improved. That's all based on projection. That is all based on Xavier Legette improving. That is all based on Tetairoa McMillan, the rookie first-round pick, being in top form right away for Bryce Young. It's based on Hunter Renfrow being in Pro Bowl form from 4 or 5 years ago. First week and a half of camp, you said absolutely he is. Last couple of weeks, slowed by a hamstring injury, played a lot last night with the 3s and the 4s. Is he that guy again right now to start the season? And Jalen Coker, coming back and improving on a surprise season of many as an undrafted rookie last year. So trading Adam Thielen would take away a security blanket for a quarterback who needs to get off to a good start. But Bryce Young played without Adam Thielen in fits and starts last year and succeeded. And, you look at the New Orleans Saints, they gave up a 4th-round pick and a future 7th-round pick for Devon Vele, a much lesser-known commodity than Adam Thielen this week. So you could really operate from a position not only of abundance at the receiver room in a trade scenario, but also looking at the Vikings and their kind of desperation to get a receiver like Thielen back with Jordan Addison suspended, got an injury to another receiver. They need more than just Justin Jefferson, and obviously they have the familiarity there, and the Thielens have a familiarity in Minnesota. So I think it does make sense for both sides, Nick. It's just a matter of what kind of deal can the Panthers get, because you're right. You're not letting Adam Thielen go for nothing. You've got to squeeze the Vikings and let them know that you don't necessarily want to get this guy off your roster, but for the right price, you'll think about it.
I guess that's the name of the game in the NFL. Younger, faster. And Thielen, he's a guy, he's up there. He's been in the league for a while. I mean, his best years are behind him.
Well, he's done a great job here for 3 years. I mean, he doesn't look washed at all. Everybody talks about his age and his experience, but you watch practice, I mean, that guy's moving around just as well as some of these younger guys. So it would be a tough player to let go, especially when you're trying to get everybody across the board on offense, especially your quarterback, to take that next step. But, if you can acquire some assets, if there's a linebacker or another position of need that the Vikings have, that could be part of the package too. You could address another need in a meaningful way with a trade of a player of that caliber.
With that being said, if this happens, what is the position of need for the Panthers right now from your vantage point?
Yeah, look, and I don't know what the Vikings may have available. I don't know what their positions of abundance are where they can afford to let somebody go. But I do think they still need some depth at linebacker, perhaps somebody that can come in and maybe even start. I think they're really thin at that position. You look at safety. I think they're probably fine. They're probably waiting for some younger guys to come up. There's a few. Linebacker to me jumps out right away. But yeah, it's all dependent on what the Vikings might have that the Panthers would be interested in besides draft picks, which you're going to want too.
From a guy that we don't know his future when it comes to the Panthers to a guy his future looks very much certain after it looked for a while that this could be his last season with the Panthers. Taylor Moton, he's a Panther. He just signed that extension, man.
Yeah, and this is a great moment for Taylor Moton, who, if you'll recall, a couple of weeks ago in the middle of training camp at the podium, he was just asked, a question about, going into the season with a contract, discussions hanging over his head, what that would be like. And he got very emotional, surprisingly emotional for how stoic Taylor Moton has been his entire career in Carolina. Wiped tears away as he said how much he loved Carolina, how much he wants to win here in Carolina and deliver a successful playoff season here again. He and J.J. Jansen, the long snapper, Nick, they're the only guys around from the 2017 Panthers team that went to the wild card. Taylor Moton cares. He cares deeply. He's been one of the best right tackles in the league for the better part of a decade. He's played 129 games for Carolina, 113 starts. He had a consecutive start streak. That was one of the longest in team history as well. Last year, he missed 3 games those were the first games he'd missed in 8 NFL seasons playing the right tackle position. That's also on a lot of teams, Nick, where at the end of the season there wasn't much to play for, but he still got out there and put on the Panthers helmet. So it's a 2-year extension for Moton. It's worth $44 million. 40 of that is guaranteed. And Taylor Moton told us in that emotional press conference, I got another contract in me. So here it is. Perhaps this is the last. He's across 30 years old now. As I've mentioned, he's played for a long, long, long time at a position that absolutely can grind you, but he's still good. And this also allows the Panthers to bookend their tackles here for at least through the 2026 season, because left tackle Ike Mekwanu, his option had been picked up after the draft this year. They may look to sign him to a long-term extension as well if he starts this season off on the right foot. So this is a big deal. I mean, this is an offensive line that returns the entire starting 5 and then some from last year when it was one of the most improved, if not the most improved offensive line in the NFL. But Taylor Moton, a guy who had Carolina ties when he got here. Grandparents lived in Gastonia. You can tell how much this place means to him. He means a lot to the Panthers on and off the field. So it was a lot of good feels seeing this get done today.
A position group that outside of Bryce Young and Andy Dalton, like guys, a position group that we don't really talk a lot about. The quarterback position, obviously, again, Bryce Young, Andy Dalton. But what are the chances the Panthers keep a third quarterback? Because we got we got a chance to see a lot of Jack Plummer over the last couple of games. We saw Bryce Perkins. Jack Plummer had some happy feet in the pocket last night. Bryce Perkins literally just came off the street and suited up. I mean, are they likely to keep a third quarterback?
They'll definitely keep a third quarterback.
Okay.
That third quarterback is then somebody that goes on the practice squad. Now, there's a few things with that. When you're on the practice squad, you can be picked up by any other team at any time as long as they put you on their 53-man roster. I don't think the Panthers are worried about Jack Plummer getting picked up by another team off the practice squad. He wasn't last year. And you keep that third quarterback around in case there's an injury and somebody that knows your offense, but it's also somebody that can run practice for you as the scout team quarterback, and that is hugely important in the NFL week to week when you're trying to get work done. So I think it'll be Jack Plummer unless it's somebody else from the outside that gets cut somewhere else. Bryce Perkins, I like what he can offer in terms of his game as opposed to Jack Plummer. He was 10 of 11 last night. Wasn't anything deep down the field, obviously. In fact, somebody said he's having a quiet night, and I said, in comparison to Jack Plummer's last 2 weeks, quiet may be the way to go. Steady may be the way to go. But I don't think Bryce Perkins really was here long enough for them to say, okay, we want him over Jack Plummer. He was here for 4 days. He got here Monday, and by Thursday night, he played the entire second half. It was limited in terms of the package and the playbook they used with him. And in Dave Canales' post-game comments, he really lauded Bryce Perkins, heart and effort to come in here and do this week. It didn't sound to me, though, like he was going to make the team. So, yes, 3 quarterbacks, not on the 53, though, practice squad for that third spot.
I only asked that because, Andy Dalton was recently hurt. He got hurt last year. Bryce Young has had some injuries. As you know, you're just like one injury away from your backup or your third string quarterback being thrown into game action.
Yeah, you're 2 injuries away from a third quarterback. I mean, we saw that with the San Francisco 49ers. We've seen that with the Dolphins recently, with all the injuries to Tua. In fact, Skylar Thompson, one of those guys, was on the field last night for Pittsburgh. So, it's an interesting call because you want somebody that, theoretically could come in if there's 2 injuries, but you want somebody that you can count on being there at practice every week running the scout team. And I think that's kind of what they have in Jack Plummer. I just don't think they're worried about one of the other 31 teams coming in and taking him and then kind of disrupting your week-to-week workflow, so to speak.
All right, Carboni. 2 weeks from the first game against the Jaguars, I'm feeling good about it. As a fan, you don't have to tell me if you feel good about it. I can tell you, I'm a fan. You're out there reporting, so I don't want to put you in that position. But I feel good about it. So we'll see what happens, man. This is an ongoing conversation that we have around this time about the Panthers, man.
Right. I mean, listen, the Panthers didn't do anything in the preseason, especially not the preseason games where they got outscored something like 69-23. I can't remember the exact number, but it was something like that. They didn't do anything to make you think, oh, yeah, they're clicking on all cylinders on both sides of the ball heading into week one. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Offensively, I think they've got improvements across the board. Like I mentioned, you return the entire starting offensive line plus the depth. You add new weapons. You hope for improvement from Xavier Legette. Another jump from Jalen Coker. Tetairoa McMillan being on the same page with Bryce Young. They're still working on that. I think that'll come eventually. I think really week one, Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, as much as you can. And if you can get a lead and try to preserve it and keep running the football, I think that is the key to success in week one as the rest of the offense catches up and hopefully the defense improves from last year as well.
Before I let you go, Carboni, this is the year that Bryce Young could prove that he is the franchise quarterback.
Is this the year?
Is
that what you're asking?
Hopefully it's year three.
Okay,
Hopefully,
yeah.
hopefully.
So yeah, I think that is the year that he needs to go on and do that. I mean, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes got big extensions after their third season. Bryce Young they're still eyeing that fifth-year option for him after this year. I mean, if he has a great start to this season, if he picks up where he left off in Atlanta and he carries that through into somewhere around November, we could start hearing about extension. I think this team, this franchise, this front office still wants to see it. I know fans want to point to the no-look touchdown pass at Atlanta and say, that's our guy forever. The Panthers are still in wait-and-see mode with Bryce Young.
All right, man, I'm going to get you out of here. Thank you for your time, Carboni.
You got it, buddy.
All right, so a great discussion there with sports director Nick Carboni on the Panthers. The Knicks talk Panthers.
I'm going to use that super from now on.
That's pretty good super. I like it. It's pretty great, and it's true. So the Panthers season kicks off in a couple of weeks, so we have some time. College football is about to start, so we'll worry about college football before we get to the Panthers.
Yeah.
We'll worry about the Gamecocks.
Worry about my Gamecocks first.
We're about the Gamecocks before we get to the Panthers.
Yeah.
We have a deal.
Obviously.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to step away for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. We're going to take a break. Again, we'll be back in 2 minutes. So hang here on WCNC Plus. All right, we cut the break short. We're back because we want to get to something live happening right now in Dare County. Governor Josh Stein, North Carolina Governor Josh Stein, is in Dare County to assess the damage caused by Hurricane Aaron. He's holding a press conference. Let's take a listen in.
Emergency response team unofficial motto is prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Now, we didn't have the absolute best because as we were down in Hatteras, we saw some businesses that took it on the chin. Some homeowners experienced real damage to their property. But my goodness, North Carolina dodged a bullet with Hurricane Aaron. She was just a few more miles offshore, and that made the difference in a widespread devastation and what we experience today. No reported loss of life. Now, Highway 12 needs a ton of work. And what's incredible about the DOT and their hardworking crews is they were on the highway before the storm, they were on the highway during the storm, and they are on the highway right now. We visited with Natalie at Frisco Rod and Gun, and she said on a Friday afternoon in August, you wouldn't have been able to find a parking spot in this lot. And we were the only cars in that parking lot because nobody can get there. So we know that this county, Dare County, depends on Highway 12 being open for your residents, but also open for your tourists and all the business that they bring to this region. And so I want to thank DOT for their industriousness and hard work to making sure that we get this road open for you all as quickly as we possibly can. I want to thank the National Guard, General Hunt. They had a couple hundred troops here. They're all demobilizing today. It's wonderful that they get to be home with their families this weekend, because what it means is that there was not widespread human impacts here. I want to thank State Emergency Management and everything they did to help coordinate and partner with their partners here at Dare, Hyde, and Currituck counties. We had a number of swiftwater rescue and search and rescue teams that deployed from other communities in this state. They left their areas to come here to help you if it was necessary. Thank goodness they were not needed, and they too will be going home to be with their families this weekend. So I want to thank all of our state hardworking public servants, all of the local officials and local first responders who have done everything they can to prepare for this storm, and let's just count our blessings that this was not the one, and we will be ready, however, Chairman, when that one comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. I think as you've heard, we talk about partnership a lot. It's a buzzword we use in emergency management, and I think standing here in the Dare Emergency Operations Center, I think you see it in action. I think as the chair said, I think I probably should have just let him do my whole talk here. I think everything begins and ends locally, and our goal at the state level is to make sure that there are resources in place to support our local communities, whatever they may need. Your residents and you deal with it well before we get here, and we'll continue to deal with it as you move through recovery, working with DOT and others on how we bring people back to this community safely. And just on behalf of the State Emergency Response Team, thank you. Thank you for the work that many of you have done over the last week and will do, especially our partners at DOT and others, as we continue to try to reopen NC-12 and get this community back. As the governor said, we are in the process today of demobilizing all of the major response assets that have come from both our local agencies, state agencies, and the North Carolina National Guard. Again, we're really grateful for the men and women of the National Guard who stepped up and were willing to support whatever we needed, including some of our National Guard partners from out of state. I think as we were looking at some of the contingency planning and potential need for air movement of resources, we also brought resources in from a partner in Georgia. And so again, are grateful to those capabilities. I think as we continue to see local evacuation orders lifted, as we see ferry service restored in NC-12, I would ask and continue to remind folks to heed what you're hearing from your local officials, especially right now when it's a beautiful Friday afternoon here. There's still a lot of work to do. I mean, as we saw this afternoon, DOT has been after it and is continuing to get after it. We need those folks to be able to do their work unimpeded. We need public safety to be able to have access to critical areas unimpeded. And so would ask folks to come back, but do it in a way that you're following that direction from your local authorities. Again, we will work with Dare County over the next several weeks as we look at damage assessments, really understand what the impact of Aaron has been and how we can marshal resources across the kind of state interagency to support your local community here. But again, on behalf of the State Emergency Response Team, thank you for your partnership. Thank you for what you have done this week and for what we will all do together in the future as partners. Thank you, Governor.
Good afternoon. I'm Joey Hopkins, Secretary of North Carolina DOT. I want to start by thanking our teams at DOT. Wynn Bridgers is a division engineer in Division 1, and him and his folks have been working since before the storm started to help clear NC-12 and prep for that. They staged equipment, like the chairman mentioned. They staged signs and barricades, and they've just done tremendous work. But in addition to that, we had Jed Dixon here, who's our ferry division director, and him and his teams have been working equally as hard. They helped evacuate Ocracoke. Over 2,200 people were on our boats leaving there before the storm hit. So I really want to thank them for what they've done, and also for the work that they've done today to make sure that all the routes are safe to get on and off Ocracoke, and they've started ferrying equipment back. You may have heard we've been able to restart the routes across the Sound from Swan Quarter and Cedar Island. Started those about noon today, and right now we're running that for essential personnel and residents only, and we'll open that up to others as Hyde County gives us word that we can do so. With that said, I mean, there's been a lot of folks talk about NC-12. We all know that NC-12 is the interstate of the Outer Banks. It's the lifeblood of the Outer Banks, and it's important to us that we help that recover to pre-storm conditions. We will continue to work on that until it's done. However, we had 2 new breaches overnight on Pea Island that have since been repaired, I'm happy to say. So that sand has been moved, and what sand was left, we used that to repair the dunes. We'll continue to do that, and hopefully we can open up more in the coming days, if not sooner. But as we see those high tides and see what additional damage we may see, we may have to readdress that. I will say, happy to say, that so far we have no damage to NC-12. So that's positive news. It's just sand and moving the water. So we'll continue after it. I also want to mention the partnerships here that's been mentioned earlier. We couldn't do what we do without the U.S. Park Service. Thank you, Superintendent Hallett, for you and your team. It's a great partnership that you have with our local folks. The U.S. Coast Guard with the Ferry Division work hand in hand with us to make sure that we can get those boats back on the water safely. So thank everybody for that, and Governor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Secretary. At this time, we'd be happy to take questions from the media to any of the folks who are up here.
Given the damage to NC-12 that did happen, and knowing that you guys are assessing that, since this wasn't, quote, the big one, going forward, if this just comes as part of the territory based on where we are, do you have any plans down the road, say 50, 20 years, to help avoid that, to make sure that NC-12 can stay sustainable? I mean, thinking about all the economy that especially it brings to that area as well.
Yes, NC-12 is critical to the Outer Banks. It's what connects the residents and the tourists to one of the most beautiful pieces of earth in the United States, and that's our Outer Banks. So we know we need to have long-term solutions. There are groups that have been formed to look at them and come up with proposals to the Department of Transportation. Your Board of Transportation Representative Tess Judge is here today, and we want to work with the community to make sure that we keep folks connected. That's what our roads do, is they keep us all connected.
You talked about some damages to businesses and homeowners. What does that damage look like when you saw it?
Yeah, what was the name of the hotel?
It was Cape Hatteras Inn, right?
I think it was the Cape Hatteras Inn that we visited in Buxton, and the water had come up underneath the hotel, ruined a lot of their parking lot, ruptured some of their pipes. So they've got work to do, and it's going to take them a few weeks to get back on their feet. But the head of the crew was right there with his mini dozer, and he was just trying to figure out, does he get started today or does he wait till after the high tide tonight? Because there may be more overwash this evening. So even though the storm is moving away from us, it is not fully gone. There will be another high tide. People who are here this weekend should not be getting in the ocean. The rip tides are still real. The water at low tide was still very rough, very violent. So we're hopeful that they will be able to get back on their feet as quickly as possible.
Governor, we've heard from folks in the Buxton area that obviously while this was not the most severe storm possible, the erosion from it, especially in the last 24 hours, was very severe. Is there any plans to address that, particularly in the Buxton area? And how exposed are those homes and businesses at this point?
Well, there were a number of homes that we took an aerial tour, and there were homes that were completely surrounded by water. They were on their piers, but they were in the water, and so it's real. We cannot stop the ocean, but what we can do is move sand and try to buttress it so that when there's big tides or big waves, that it slows it down. It keeps it from having maximum damage, and we're going to continue to do everything we can. We have to work with our federal partners in the Army Corps of Engineers on beach renourishment, but this is always going to be, this issue will never go away. These are living dunes, and these folks out here know that.
Are there any plans, given those areas there, you were mentioning the homes with the ocean under the pilings and the north end of Buxton, are there any thought or any plans given to thinking about how perhaps there could be some incentives to property owners to move their homes back away from areas that are hotspots?
Yeah, there has been federal funding to help us deal with resilience, to try to, in these areas where there's flooding, whether it's on the shore or in a floodplain in a river, to address those properties. Unfortunately, all of that funding has been held up, the BRIC funding. So I've continued to reach out to the Department of Homeland Security to try to unlock that funding so we can put it to good use, whether it's here on the Outer Banks or in the flood zones in the rest of the state.
How much, so the funding is held up, do you have a figure on how much of that BRIC funding is involved?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's $85 million, but we can confirm that.
We'll take one last question.
Yes, this is for Secretary Hopkins. You said there were 2 breaches on Key Island.
Breaches.
And I was wondering if one of them is where the locals call it the Isabel Inlet, which was, Little Isabel?
No,
New Inlet. And I'm just curious, is it at the same location where there was that major breach before and they built the bridge near it, over it?
So first of all, the short answer is no, but let me clarify too. When I say breach, the island has not been breached. It's the sand dune that's been breached, and then allowing the wave action in the sand to get on EC-12. So the 2 areas are right there near the park. At the entrance of the park was the southernmost area, and that's where the sign is, where the parking lot is, the visitor center, and then the other areas between there and the end of the Mark Bass Knight Bridge.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate your hard work.
Thank you again, Secretary. Appreciate it.
All right, so you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. We're about 5 minutes past the bottom of the hour. Governor Josh Stein there shaking hands with officials and people there in Dare County as he assesses the damage from Hurricane Aaron. His press conference just wrapping up moments ago. All right, so we want to get to a bit of breaking news that we've had our eye on and continue to have our eye on. This is in Buffalo, New York. Take a look at the scene.
Just outside of Buffalo.
Outside of Buffalo.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is a large response, first responder response. So a bus crash with multiple fatalities on the throughway shuts down all lanes of traffic. You're taking a look at that scene live there. This is just outside of Buffalo. So here's what the NBC affiliate, our content partners also, WGRD is reporting. And this is exactly what Pembroke, New York.
Yes.
Okay. And again, this is just outside of Buffalo. A collision involving a bus on I-90 eastbound between exit 49, Route 78, which is Route 78, and exit 48A has shut down all lanes of traffic, according to New York State Police. Again, bear with us with this shot as it looks like they are adjusting. This is breaking news, so this happens as we try to get a better shot. New York State Police say there are multiple fatalities, entrapments, and injuries. Mercy Flight says there were 52 people on the bus. Again, there are multiple injuries. And we're reporting multiple fatalities, but they don't know how many need medical transport. You can see that, first respond is a large first responder response there. 4 people need to be taken by helicopter. So here's a breakdown of those 4 people: 2 minors, 1 adult, 2 adults, but 2 separate hospitals. So 2 minors went to the nearby children's hospital, and then 2 adults went to 2 different hospitals. So Mercy Flight also confirmed that 2 helicopters are on their way back to the scene now. I believe they just got back to the scene. It looks like from what we saw on the screen. Again, the camera keeps moving. The spokesperson for ECMC, do we know?
Erie County Medical Center.
Okay, thank you. Confirmed that they have received 7 patients so far. Obviously, there's major traffic delays with this. And again, WGRZ is our source for news on this, and where we're pulling this information and where I'm reading this information from. Carlene worked in Buffalo.
I did for 3 years.
And so she's been definitely giving me a lot of context. I want you to kind of dip in on what you know and what you're seeing.
This is I-90. This is the throughway. For those who aren't familiar, I wasn't familiar with the word throughway until I moved up there. Yeah. Throughways are essentially highways that have in between tolls.
Okay.
This is kind of, I actually have a map up here just while the camera's moving. So this kind of shows where Pembroke is. It's a little bit Buffalo. You can see right there is by the water. Pembroke, where our little red little carrot thing is out there. So it's a bit farther out, but this is a huge interstate.
And is that red?
That's the traffic.
Traffic, okay.
That's traffic. It's backed up. The state police were on the scene. I was listening kind of as Governor Stein was talking to the trooper who said, like, this is going to be shut down both ways for a while.
Yeah.
As they try to kind of weed people to, you got to go from the farthest inwards closest to the crash. So it's going to be a while to get these people who are kind of, for lack of a better word, stranded until, turned around to get to where they need to go.
Wow. Because you were getting calls about this.
Yes.
And you recognized the trooper there on your screen.
I did.
We were trying to
figure. His name left me, but yes, he's been there for a long time, and I've been here 6 years, and he was in the same position back then. But
yeah, Carlene was like, why is somebody from Buffalo calling me?
Yes.
And then Carlene found this story, saw this, and then it popped up. I think we have a shot on Router 4 of that bus.
It's turned over. From what the trooper was also saying was that this was a tour bus heading from New York to Niagara Falls.
Okay.
New York City, I should say, to Niagara Falls.
And bear with us in case you see anything on your screen. We're going to keep an eye on it.
Sure.
We'll be mindful.
Don't want to show anything sensitive or disturbing or anything tough to watch. But yeah, this is a major throughway.
Yeah. And can you explain throughway again?
Throughway is essentially a highway, but it has a toll, like it's a toll road, so it's in between tolls.
Okay. Because when I read it at first, I was like, am I saying it right?
Right, it's a throughway.
Throughway, okay. Let's start back from the top. Again, bus crash, multiple fatalities on throughway, shuts down all lanes of traffic. I'm reading this from WGRZ, our content partners there in Buffalo, New York. So this is in Pembroke, New York, outside of Buffalo. A collision involving a bus on the I-90 eastbound between exit 49 and exit 48A has shut down all lanes of traffic, according to New York State Police. New York State Police say there are multiple fatalities, entrapments, and injuries. Mercy Flight says there were 52 people on the bus. There are multiple injuries, but they don't know how many people need medical transport. So there were 4 people that need to be taken by helicopter. So 2 minors were taken to a children's hospital nearby. 1 adult was taken to
it was an Oshai Children's Hospital?
Okay,
yes. That's the children's hospital, yes.
And then 1 adult was taken to ECMC. And 1 adult was taken to Strong Memorial Hospital. Okay. So if you're familiar with those hospitals, that's where they were taken. So Mercy Flight also confirmed that 2 helicopters were on their way back to the scene. Still unclear if they have made it back to the scene or if they're still en route. We'll keep an eye out for that.
The shot, it
looks like,
I'm doing some Googling and researching to see if like state police or anything has put anything on X.
Okay.
Anything.
And I can pop myself back on camera.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, so as that shot, if you get a better shot, it looks like we have. again, this is breaking news. When breaking news happens, you know, as a journalist, especially as photographers, they're out there gathering as many shots as they can. So they are out and about. Okay, let's show you that shot of that scene right now. All right, here it is. You see those first responders. You see that bus on the side. A large first responder presence, law enforcement present. I see firefighters. I see EMS. I see all kinds of first responders. You name it. Again, multiple fatalities after a bus crash on the thruway that has shut down all lanes of traffic there. This is in Pembroke, New York. And you can see there, not sure exactly what it looks like firefighters are doing, but it looks like they may be going inside, seeing if anybody is inside or checking if somebody is inside. But what we can confirm and what we do know, according to WGRZ, a collision involving a bus on the I-90 eastbound between exit 49 and exit 48A has shut down all lanes of traffic, according to New York State Police. New York State Police say there are multiple fatalities, entrapments, and injuries as we speak. Let me refresh, just in case.
I'm also going to put this the map up just to kind of give the viewers some perspective on. Look at
that's traffic.
How that red line is traffic, and it's shut down both ways.
Wow. So that is basically going to and from Buffalo.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you know how far Buffalo is from Pembroke? If you can't remember, I hate to put you on a spot like this. I can Google this too.
I can take a look myself. Let's see here.
We are good. It says about 49 minutes. And so I don't know if it's
right.
Okay. And I didn't know if this was inflated a bit because of traffic, but so it's about 50 minutes, a little less than an hour from Pembroke to Buffalo, just to kind of give you an idea of how far. But you see that red on your screen, those lanes are shut down because of this deadly bus crash. This is a look at the scene. You see firefighters that are right there by that bus. That bus is laying on its side after that crash. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what exactly firefighters are doing, but you could tell that they're around there. Again, we can report there are entrapments, multiple fatalities tied to this bus crash. Again, I keep refreshing because just in case we get some new information, I want to make sure I report that in real time. And I'm sure you hear my mouse clicking. All right, so again, as WGRZ is reporting, that's our content partners there in Buffalo, New York. And I do want to mention, past this bus crash, it looks like cars and trucks are behind it, so it's at a standstill, so you could see that traffic behind this crash. And again, bear with us on the shot as.
I'll put you back on camera.
Yeah,
just to
thank
be sure.
you. Yeah, look, in breaking news situations, as you're trying to get shots, you're trying to collect as much information and video as possible. It tends to happen. So this is happening in real time, guys. We were reporting this in real time. You're seeing the shots in real time. And I'm just keeping an eye. If I keep looking down, I'm looking down at if we get a new shot. But here's what I can report from WGRZ in Buffalo, our content partners there. A fatal collision involving a bus on the I-90 eastbound between exit 49 and exit 48A has shut down all lanes of traffic, according to New York State Police. This is in Pembroke, I was about to say North Carolina, but Pembroke, New York. Pembroke, New York, this is where it's happening. Pembroke, New York.
Genesee County, if those are familiar. I know we have a lot of Buffalo people who are in the Charlotte area.
Okay.
So.
There is yeah. Now that you mention that, yeah, there are
quite a few
Buffalo folks,
even here in our newsroom.
Yes, and so If you're from Buffalo, you're familiar with Buffalo.
30 miles east of Buffalo.
Okay, you're well familiar with what I'm talking about right now. So New York State Police say there are multiple fatalities, entrapments, injuries because of this crash. Mercy Flight says there are 52 people on the bus. There are multiple injuries, but they don't know how many. As of minutes ago, they don't know how many people need medical transport. So the people they have taken by helicopter, 2 minors, they both have gone to a nearby children's hospital. Did you say O'Shea?
Oshai.
Oshai.
Yes.
Oshai Children's Hospital. 1 adult to ECMC and 1 adult to Strong Memorial Hospital. Mercy Flight has been back and forth to the scene to help folks. Spokesperson for ECMC confirmed they have 7 patients so far, and that number could be growing. And as you saw beyond that bus, I don't know if you remember the shot we showed you of the scene.
We can show you this.
Okay, here's the scene
Look
again.
At all those lights, all those cars.
You have
Yeah.
New York State Police, so you have law enforcement, you have firefighters, you have EMS, you have Mercy Flight there. You see the helicopter there towards your right, transporting folks, making sure people get the medical attention they need. Officials say the bus was traveling from Niagara Falls to New York City.
So they were going back. Okay,
Yes. So that's what I'm reading. Officials say the bus was traveling from Niagara Falls to New York City. That is a bit of an update that we got. We were still.
I know the trooper had said
Yeah.
something. It was either New York to Niagara Falls or vice versa. But yes, it was a tour bus that was heading to or from Niagara Falls.
Okay.
And just to let y'all know, this is a reporter from our content partner WGRZ.
Yeah, and maybe we could pop up this reporter if they start doing a hit. We'll keep
I
it.
will listen in.
Okay, Garlene's going to listen in. Again, that's a reporter there from our content partners there in Buffalo, New York, reporting live there on the scene. But again, as we mentioned, that bus that was involved in the crash was traveling from Niagara Falls to New York City. And so from Pembroke, and I know Buffalo is not New York City, but just to give you, because it is the market, Buffalo to Pembroke is about less than an hour, about 49 minutes. I believe we have a post from Governor Kathy Hochul.
Okay.
So New York State Governor.
Is this on X?
On X.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me look it
So
up.
she posted, I've been briefed on the tragic tour bus accident on the New York State Thruway. My team is coordinating closely with New York State Police and local officials who are working to rescue and provide assistance to everyone involved. Again, that is a post from Governor Kathy Hochul, New York's Governor Kathy Hochul. Again, I want to read it again. She says, I've been briefed on the tragic tour bus accident on, and she added, New York State Thruway. My team is coordinating closely with New York State Police and local officials who are working to rescue and provide assistance to everyone involved. Again, she tweeted that earlier this afternoon. Again, that is Governor Kathy Hochul on this accident. We're doing some clicking around and all the things to get you the latest information. So bear with us as we click around, as we learn in real time. Again, that's a camera from our content partners, WGRZ. They are reporting live on scene. You saw a reporter probably there earlier.
Yes.
Gathering information, as much information as she can.
Both sides of I-90 are closed. Just a reminder, both sides.
Both sides
New York
are
State
closed.
Police posted that about 2 hours ago.
So we're getting information in real time. So we're filtering out information, making sure we get you the latest information. Again, Governor Kathy Hochul posting this on X. She has been briefed on this accident, which we have reported that there are multiple fatalities. Her team is working closely with New York State Police and other local officials to make sure people are rescued and make sure the necessary assistance is there for everyone involved. And again, we have a reporter standing by. As soon as she starts talking and filling us in, we're going to take you straight out to her. But this is a map. So we showed this earlier. This is a map from Pembroke to, I guess you would say Buffalo.
Yeah.
To
So
Buffalo.
Buffalo, you can see right there, of course, on the water, and then Pembroke is where the little red carrot is right there. It's 30 miles east of Buffalo. It's a hike.
Yeah.
I-90 is huge throughway.
Mm-hmm.
It's busy as all get out.
Yeah.
So, especially on a Friday, like this is.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I don't know. Okay, we have a reporter there, WGRZ. Let's take a listen into what she's saying right now.
And then rolled over all the way to the south here. We can see cars, starting to move here right next to us. We just had a flight go over us, and what we know so far is officials confirm there are multiple mortalities. More than 50 people were on board traveling from Niagara Falls back to New York City. Many of the passengers are from India, China, and the Philippines. Crews are working to get interpreters on the scene to help overcome language barriers. But here's why Trooper James O'Callahan says this tour bus crash was such a big impact.
All right, so that might seem a little awkward. We're watching a raw feed of this, so we're going to dip into WGRZ's coverage, but you will be listening to a soundbite or interview from a trooper. Let's get you back out now to this reporter. Right, do we want to go back to the reporter, or do we want to go to? Let's go to a reporter. She's speaking right now.
Reported 4 patients, 2 children flown to Oshai's Children's Hospital, 1 adult to ECMC, and another to Strong Memorial in Rochester. 2 more helicopters are heading back to the scene. ECMC tell us that they've already received 7 patients, but their conditions have not been released yet. And again, this is being treated as a potential mass casualty incident of both directions, or now this lane looks like it's starting to come up. This lane on this side is still closed for the time being. But again, stay with us. We have the latest updates right here on air and online on WGRZ.com. On your side of the New York Thruway, I'm Alexandra Rios-Molvia, Channel 2 News.
All right, so that's reported there from WGRZ. Let's shift over now to their coverage. They're actually doing continuous coverage of this. Again, this is our content partners, WGRZ in Buffalo, New York. It's on a little bit of a little delay, so you may see this reporter. You just heard this. Let's take a listen in to their coverage. She's wrapping up. Again, it's on the delay. I know you just saw this, but let's listen in.
Alec, thank you. Governor Kathy Hochul's office did respond about the crash. She shared this about an hour ago on X, saying, quote, that she's been briefed on the tragic tour bus accident on the Thruway. Her team is currently coordinating closely with New York State Police and local officials who are working to rescue and provide assistance to everyone involved. And you just heard the latest from Alex at the scene. We want to reemphasize there are multiple fatalities because of this tour bus accident that happened on the New York State Thruway. The 90 eastbound between exits 49 and 48A is shut down to all traffic. Mercy Flight says there were 52 people on the bus. Of those, 2 minors were flown to Oshai Children's Hospital, 1 adult flown to ECMC, 1 adult also taken to Strong Memorial Hospital. According to ECMC, 7 patients have been sent there in total. We did hear from Trooper O'Callahan earlier that at least one of the fatalities does involve a child. Again, the road closures are impacting travel. A live look right now as the traffic is starting to flow. The 90 eastbound between exits 49 and 48A is shut down to all traffic. Here is a live look at the backup of the 90 East. We hope to bring that up to you shortly, but if not, the backup is still there. This is an area you want to avoid. If you're hitting the New York State Thruway between that area, it's best to stay away at this particular time. Again, this is a breaking news story. We will have updates coming in by the minute. We will be back here with you on Channel 2 as well as online, WGRZ.com. You can also find the latest updates there. Again, we want to just reemphasize what we heard from New York State Police Trooper O'Callahan today, that there were multiple fatalities. People are still trapped. This was a full-size tour bus that actually rolled over. The driver is alive. The driver has been able to give some information to New York State Police. We do know that this tour bus, we don't know the name of the tour bus company at this particular time, but what we do know is that this tour bus originated in New York City, then went to Niagara Falls, and it was on its way back to New York City. There is a language barrier that they are dealing with right now. The people are from India, China, and the Philippines. We'll see you later on Channel 2.
All right, so that was continuous coverage there from our content partners, WGRZ. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to step away for 2 minutes. So hold right there. We'll be right back in 2 minutes here on Live Impact News. All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. We are at the top of the hour. We want to recap some breaking news that we've been following in the Buffalo, New York area, specifically Pembroke, New York. So a fatal collision, and I'm reading this from WGRZ, our content partners here in Buffalo, New York. A fatal collision involving a bus on the I-90 eastbound between exit 49 and exit 48A has shut down all lanes of traffic. That's according to New York State Police. There are multiple fatalities, entrapments, and injuries. We have confirmed 52 people on the bus. Again, multiple injuries, multiple fatalities there. So we will continue to keep you updated on the latest there. And we do know that bus was coming from New York City to Niagara Falls.
Either that or the other way around.
Okay, yeah. We're still trying to parse out those details. Again, details or continue to trickle in on this development situation. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that as we get into the 3 o'clock hour. But for now, we want to come back home. We want to get a check of the forecast as we approach the weekend. Let's check in with meteorologist Majestic Storm.
Well, good Friday afternoon to you. I'm WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm. We've been holding on to cloudy skies all day long, and really that's going to be the trend as we're heading into the afternoon and this evening. But all of that widespread and heavy rain, it already moved through the area. And while we head into the later half of our Friday, we could see a little bit of rain here and there, but overall the chances are low. Heading into this weekend, though, it's going to be all about those below average temperatures. Temperatures won't be cold by any means, but it is going to be much cooler cooler than where we should be for this time of the year. Scattered rain showers on again, off again will be possible. And then next week, finally, the return of some sunshine and mild conditions. If you have any plans for your Friday afternoon or Friday night, I mean, it's not a bad day. We're looking at temperatures that'll be pretty comfortable into the 70s. I think we could hit some low 80s and possibly a little bit of sun breaks here and there. But with that, we're also watching those small rain chances that may develop really at any point for our Friday. 20% chance really through the majority of our day, so meaning most of us, we won't see any rain, but we can't rule out a little bit of sprinkles developing or even an isolated storm that could even bring a possible downpour. Here's our futurecast though. This is what radar could look like as we're heading into the later half of the day. Here's about 3 o'clock. All of that white is indicating the cloud coverage there. And again, when I'm talking about very spotty shower and storm activity, I'm talking about very, very isolated. Not everyone will see it, that's for sure, but I think we could see some form. Here's about 3 o'clock right around Chester or even perhaps up towards the mountains or the foothills, but generally not a bad second half of the day. By 6 o'clock, we're getting some indication that we could have a little bit of clearing. Wouldn't that be nice for our Friday evening from Taylorsville out towards Statesville, but still seeing a lot of white indicating a lot of cloud coverage. Still trying to hold on. They are stubborn and they are thick, and we'll be waking up to some more cloud coverage tomorrow for your Saturday. So if you want to wake up, you want to take the kids to the park, maybe you want to go for a long run, it's going to be mild, pretty comfortable as far as those temperatures go, but unfortunately not a picture perfect, beautiful Saturday morning. As we're heading into the later half of our Saturday, again, mainly cloudy skies, and we can't rule out some mountain showers or thunderstorms. Very limited chance with that though. There's the precipitation over the next 10 days. Overall low, but not zero today, and into tomorrow we'll bump those up to about 30% on Sunday, and then heading into early next week, the sunshine returns, the temperatures start to rise, and those rain chances, they're actually going to go down. Let's take you up to the mountains where temperatures today are going to be rather mild, 60s and 70s. 70 degrees today in Boone. Across Lenoir, plan for mid to upper 70s. 77 is all you're getting to out there in Monroe. As we're looking at Gastonia, about 80 degrees for you in Shelby, and much of the same out towards Rock Hill. So be prepared for that. Temperatures are going to gradually get a little bit warmer. By early next week, we'll start to see them rise to right around 90 degrees on Monday. This is for Charlotte. And then they drop again back below our average before they start to gradually warm back up. Hurricane Erin is far away from the Carolinas, moving east-northeast at 28 miles an hour. It's still a Category 1 hurricane. While we won't get any major impacts anymore across really the eastern seaboard, we are still dealing with dangerous rip currents. Keep this in mind, especially if you're heading out to the beach this weekend or even into early next week. Here's that 7-day forecast as we are heading into the weekend. Cloudy skies today, low 80s. Lows tonight dip down into the upper 60s and gradually warming by Sunday. Have a great weekend.
Hey everyone, we've got a ton of developing news. I'm Colin Mayfield here on WCNC Plus inside the Impact studio. Just minutes ago, the president saying Friday, today, that Chicago could be the next city to see federal troops amid his push to crack down on crime. Obviously, we've seen the numbers that he has touted in Washington, D.C., based on the National Guard being there, other federal agents being on the ground as well. And it looks to be like Chicago could be the next step in this plan. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. This happened during an Oval Office press conference just today, which we will play for you at some point during our stream. But we have a ton of breaking news right now that we do want to get to and make sure we update you on. But apparently he was meeting with the FIFA president to discuss the upcoming 2026 World Cup today, which is obviously set to take place, part of it in the United States. So very interesting for him to bring those comments up amid a meeting about something totally different, but that does happen. So anyway, it will be seen, obviously, when this could happen and what type of deployment, how it looks. So yeah, we are also covering this huge breaking news story right now outside of Buffalo, New York. We are still getting more information on this, but this is a huge fatal collision involving a bus, tour bus accident on I-90 eastbound between exit 49 and exit 48A. And if you know in that area, right outside of Buffalo. There are multiple ways that you can get to and from. You can take a couple of different routes, but it's kind of off of where Six Flags Darien Lake is. This is Pembroke area right now. And if you look at a map, Jeb, you don't have to pull this up. I know you're busy, but I-90 is just shut down. And in fact, it looks like it's shut down in either direction at this time. You've got backups I-90 that are almost all the way to Batavia. So if you're from the northeastern area, which I know we have a lot of folks from the Charlotte area that are now live here from New York or other places in the northeastern region of the United States, this is a very serious situation. And there had been some discussion, I know, last hour when Nick was just on with Carlene about potentially this bus being, coming from the Niagara Falls area. We don't know that to be true at this point. But New York State Police are certainly investigating and shut down all lanes of traffic right now on Route 78. So they're saying multiple fatalities. This deals with entrapments. There are some serious injuries, as you might expect. It looks like Mercy Flight themselves say that there are 52 people aboard this bus. So we can expect this is going to be a mass casualty type of incident. Unfortunately, that it's unfolding before our eyes on this Friday afternoon. Sorry, I'm looking at these pictures. Man, striking to see. It kind of brings to mind the bus crash we had, Jeb, just in the last couple of months. Obviously, it was it was in the spring before we hit the summertime with that rollover school bus accident, and just how tragic that was. You never want to see an incident like this, but obviously with people who are just, seemingly innocent on this bus going to and from somewhere. And we've talked about at length as well, a lot of these buses do not have seat belts. They're built that way. It's something unorthodox that you would think maybe they should start making buses with seat belts. And I know at some point they have looked into that, and some bus producers do actually outfit their buses with them. But obviously it's probably not a common thing at this point. So again, 52 people aboard this bus, multiple injuries, and it looks like I haven't seen any medical helicopters. Have you, Jeb, that have come to the scene at all?
What's up?
You haven't seen a medical helicopter at all from the scene?
No,
Okay.
not yet, but we've been monitoring it.
Okay. All right. It looks like 4 people. I'm sorry. Well, although we haven't seen, it does say on WGRZ's website that 2 helicopters have come to the scene and have airlifted 2 minors to a children's hospital, 1 adult to a different hospital, and then 1 adult to another hospital. So 2 adults have been airlifted, 2 minors have been airlifted. So 2 helicopter flights. I imagine this could happen again, which is why they have shut down both sides of the highway to make a landing zone for this helicopter and make sure that obviously nobody impacts the rotors on landing or anything like that. So it looks like ECMC, which is a local medical center in the area, there have received 16 patients so far. This was first reported just afternoon at 12:30 p.m. So they've been doing some extrications and some rescues for a couple of hours at this point. And as we know, it's still the summer. It is not cool. I'm sure it's not as warm as it is here, but again, this is something that is ever developing right now that we continue to monitor. We do have another developing situation, a live interview that we do want to get to. As here on WCNC Plus, we always categorize local, regional, and national. So our local segment is important to us as well. And Jeb, I'm going to let you take it over because, man, Charlotte FC, let's just talk about it for a second. They have galvanized that team. A lot of different players have come, and really, they look really good right now.
Yeah, Colin, thank you so much. I'm joined right now by Andrew Wiebe with MLS Season Pass. Andrew, thank you so much for making the time to join us. Very excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to come to the Queen City. It is my first time for a game in Charlotte.
Wow.
I had the pleasure of being there last year. I know. Got to chat with Dino. Got to talk to Tim Ream and many, many others. But 6 straight wins in a row, and that's the time that Sunday Night Soccer comes to the Queen City in Charlotte. It could not have been written any better, boys. It is carved in the stars.
It's going to be a heck of a matchup. And New York Red Bulls, a team that Charlotte is trying to replicate a very similar run that the Red Bulls had last season. You mentioned yourself 6 straight wins. What is going right for the Crown right now?
Well, I think there's a level of chemistry in the attack that we haven't yet seen this year. And to be clear, goals have not been the issue. But in my opinion, goals and production and just sort of that little extra bit of connection between the team's best players has been kind of off and on. We saw Pep Biel fuel an MVP campaign for the first half season or so, and Patrick Agyemang was chipping in, and Wilfried Zaha was not exactly the Zaha that people expected. But I think one big change happened in the summer that sort of turned things on its head, and that is the sale of Agyemang to Derby County. Now, I am a card-carrying member, like one of the originals. I literally said this man's name when he was drafted. I announced it. I am Patrick Agyemang Hive till I die. But I just don't think that he and Wilfried Zaha, I don't know that they fit perfectly on the field together. It felt to me like both want to occupy sort of similar spaces in that left-hand channel. And I think Patrick is more of a guy who wants to get in behind and run the channel and play 1v1 rather than more of a traditional 9 that's in the box, waiting for service, giving those wingers the space and time wide to sort of operate the way they want. And that is exactly the way Idon Toklomati plays. Since Toklomati came in the lineup, I think it's been a completely different Charlotte FC side. They found a little bit more balance in the midfield to protect that back line, to get the record back where it should be in terms of back line play. And so when you have your attacking players clicking together, and then you have the midfield finally sort of living up to their standard and protecting the back line, you get 6 straight wins, and you get a feeling that maybe Charlotte over the last 7 games or so here can fight and claw their way into a position to maybe get more than just one home game in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and you've said it yourself. This is a extremely important matchup for the Crown. Obviously, New York Red Bulls right behind them. Idon Toklomati, a name that few of us were excited about last year. We were like, all right, sure, he's a new forward. Now he has taken the league by storm. Do you think this level of play from a young player like himself is sustainable for the next 6-7 games and then playoffs?
Yeah, listen, if we're talking about like a shorter time period, I think it is sustainable. It's just sort of the nature of the hot and cold that strikers run. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about like entire career at Lionel Messi level, XG, non-goal XG plus assisting, I don't think that that's realistic. Let's not hold Toklomati to that level of production. What I do think is consistent is the way that he plays and the runs that he makes. Mm-hmm. And I really think that is the key to what is happening here for him. He is putting himself in positions where his runs are predictable, the timing, the direction to his teammates, but are difficult to track for defenders. And if you're a winger and you're trying to create space and time and angles, what you really need is the guy there that understands when and where that ball is going to be delivered, what your preferences are, where it's most dangerous. And for Toklomati, that generally is that near post. He will spin to the back post sometimes, but I'm really impressed by his ability to sort of time, wait, be patient in the box, and then make the run at the right time. And then right now his finishing is just blowing away the models. So listen, is that sustainable for the next 2 years, his entire career? Come on, let's be honest, probably not. Can that stay for the next 7 games? That is very possible, and if he does that and Zaha keeps his form, and then either Abada or Vargas pick it up on the right-hand side, you've got something cooking, especially considering Pep Biel should be back in time for a playoff push.
Absolutely, and I think I speak for all Charlotte FC fans when I say it would be nice to have a goal scorer on another cheap contract. I mean, that's a dime a dozen in the MLS, so to get 2 back-to-back is pretty remarkable.
No doubt about it. I mean, look, give Zoran Krneta and this coaching staff credit. I've been talking about it a lot around this transfer window. You have to have succession plans within your club. And to get Pat and to have him play the way he did, I don't think anybody expected that. I don't think Charlotte FC would tell you that they expected after drafting him he would be an $8 million sale for them. But once he did grab the reins, once it was clear that the DP forwards that they signed did not work out, to go in and backfill with Toklomati, that's the way it should happen. To say, listen, Pat, we want you to thrive. We want you to succeed. We want you to score goals that get us to places that we want to go to compete for trophies. But we want there to come a time where our $0 investment pays off big time. And that time has come for Patrick Agyemang. And so then you have the player in the wings. You don't have to go into the transfer market. You don't have to buy a guy at an inflated price in the summer. You don't have to say, listen, you need to fit immediately. You have a player who's been in your system, who understands what's being asked for him, who has chemistry with his teammates, that can walk right in. So job well done by Charlotte on that front. speaking of a job well done, Adelson Malanda, same $8 million. Brilliant work by Zoran Krneta to keep him around for the rest of the season. But now it's time to do a little succession planning as well, because you cannot lose the man who's played every single minute for you in the winter and not have somebody ready to go for 2026.
Absolutely, and that brings me to my next point seamlessly. Hours ago, MLS transfer summer window wrapping up. All of us, I'm sure, refreshing Tom Bogert's X, incessantly trying to see what's going on. How would you grade Charlotte FC's window? Obviously, bringing in Harry Toffolo, spending a lot of money on a calendar, and then Archie Goodwin. Where would you? And then losing Malanda, but getting him for the rest of the season on loan. Where would you put that in your A to F rankings, and why?
I would say it's in the solidly B to B plus category. I don't think this was a window for Charlotte to go out and to make wholesale massive changes. It's probably not the right moment to go reinvest in terms of a DP player up top. You got to figure some things out in the winter, make sure that you get Biel and hold him long term. So I think B to B plus, and that's not a demerit on Charlotte or Zoran Krneta. It's more of a reflection of what this window needed to be, which is sort of like make the right strategic plays to improve your team. I think outside back has been an issue all year long. Nathan Byrne is healthy again, so you feel good about having him on the right side. Left back has been a question mark. I mean, they've dropped points in the last month or two because of the way they've had issues at left back. So get somebody more veteran in there in Toffolo, somebody who has played at a really high level. That's a great signing. And I honestly think the best move of the entire window might be the Malanda move, in the sense that you were able to not just get the number that you wanted for Malanda. Remember, this is a guy who was signed for less than $1 million from Rodez in League Two. You have now 8 times your initial investment and also gotten multiple high-level, best 11 caliber years out of the player. Like, if you look across the board, whether it's in terms of the here and now, okay, you have your best center back for the stretch run to try to go win something with this team. That's an A. Okay, you got $8 million for a less than $1 million player. That's an A+++. And now you've sent a signal to the rest of the world, to any player looking at Charlotte, not just in the terms of Patrick Agyemang, but now in Adelson Malanda. If you are a talented young player and you want to take a step forward in your career, Charlotte now looks like a pretty darn attractive place to do that. They will pay you money, they'll pay you what you deserve, you'll get playing time, and they will not stand in the way of a move long term for you. So I got to say, I mean, maybe I was grading too much on a curve on the B+. I think it's probably solidly in the B+A the more that I think about it. And now really the final grade comes down to what happens the rest of the season, guys. Like, you make moves in the summer to pay off in the fall. So what's going to happen in the fall?
Absolutely, and I think as much as fans were hoping for a Cincinnati or Colorado-esque level transfer window, you're right. We do have all the pieces. It's just about getting them to play in the right way. A team that might be disappointed with their summer transfer window are friends up in New York. Play this weekend. They wanted Timo Werner. They've been rumored with Timo Werner for, it feels like, months now. Didn't happen. Yeah, honestly, I mean, ever since he was playing in Leipzig, it was like, oh, he's coming to MLS. So I want to ask you, missing out on a caliber player, yes, they have Eric Choupo-Moting, who has been playing out of his socks the last few weeks. So his goal against Philadelphia in the Open Cup was absolutely scintillating. Do you think missing out on that level player, do you think they have the roster to compete and reach the same heights they got to last season?
Well, remember, last season they didn't have Choupo-Moting. Last season they had something a little bit different, though, in Lewis Morgan. And I think that's the one thing, if you look at this Red Bulls roster, that they're missing right now. They need a guy to stretch the field. They need a guy when the ball turns over, when they get into those transition moments, when they draw other teams forward with their possession. And by the way, they're a better possession team this year than they've been probably in 15 years. They need that threat behind for Emil Forsberg to play to. So I was immensely disappointed, not just for the Red Bulls and their fans and certainly for that staff and the players who I'm sure would like to have a Timo Werner in the building, but just for the rest of us, soccer fans, people in North America that want to see a club in New York go for it and be at the highest level, that the Werner deal did not come off, because in my opinion, he is the player that they're missing right now. If you think about that attack in terms of, okay, you have a string puller, you have your number 10 in Emil Forsberg, who I think is having an underrated season right now. Choupo-Moting has paid off, no doubt about it. He seems locked in. He is only getting better as he improves sort of the connections with the players around him and the system adapts to him. But where's that guy to stretch the lines? Where's the guy to provide more space for Emil Forsberg underneath because defenses and back lines and midfields have to respect the speed in behind. Where's the guy that can get in behind and let Choupo-Moting trail the play and make that run to the near post or sort of wait and time his run in the right way to score goals? You know, Mohamed Sofo's been very good. Mohamed Sofo's a 20-year-old. Like, I want to see a team in New York that went to MLS Cup last year go out and make the big move. And it's it's more than a two-man game here. It's not just New York Red Bulls saying we want to do it. It's got to be Timo Werner who wants to do it. You've got agents involved. You've got all sorts of interests involved. I'm so disappointed for the Red Bulls overall that they weren't able to get this over the line, because I've been screaming for this club to be more ambitious for years and years now. I felt that Emil Forsberg was a big step in the right direction. I felt that Choupo-Moting this offseason was a big step in the right direction, and they just needed to take another step to really join that upper echelon in the East. Right now, just like Charlotte, they're chasing that top six, and both teams have the same problem, which is that they cannot win on the road. And if you cannot win on the road and you go into the playoffs as a low seed, well, hate to break it to you, you're not going to be playing big games at home. So I wanted to see it happen. I'm disappointed it didn't. Maybe the winter brings something new, but at this point, that tease has been years in the making, guys. I can't get too excited until I see it actually happen.
Yes, a recipe that we've seen all too frequently, especially in the last few years. This was at one point the club that boasted Thierry Henry, Sasha Kljestan, Dax McCarty, and we watch them every weekend. So hopefully they can get there. But let's not take any credit away from Eric Choupo-Moting. You know, his entire career, kind of after his mind stays and kind of at Stoke, he'd been a secondary option, a backup striker at legendary clubs like Bayern and PSG. This year, he's the main man, and he's been fantastic. What can the Charlotte FC defense do, which is very good? Christian Kalina is back to his goalkeeper of the year form. What do they need to do to keep him quiet and keep he and Emil Forsberg on different wavelengths?
I would start it with Forsberg, because, you know, listen, the best way to starve a forward is to deny them service. And for the New York Red Bulls, the way that they generate service is generally to find the feet of Forsberg and to either get into transition moments, as I said, or let him dictate play in the final third. If you look at their games on the road, and it's jarring. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I know you guys have experience with the same sort of split, but they are the best points per game home team in the entire league, the New York Red Bulls. They are the 5th worst team in the entire league on the road. And it's like plus 18 goal differential at home, minus 10 away. And the big difference, I think, is just it's not how much of the ball they have. It's sort of the attitude and the mindset when they do have it. There's something missing in terms of aggression, in terms of sort of trying to exert dominance away from home. And I know Sandro Schwartz sees it. I know he's frustrated by it. I know he's trying to fix it. And I think it all comes down to Emil Forsberg. Like, you've got to get this guy on the ball in high leverage spots, and you have to get either runners in front of him, or you have to find him in the final third in ways that he can actually get his head up and make decisions in that final play. Because right now it's just not happening on the road. So listen, get bodies around Choupo-Moting, bump him, don't let him have a clean run. You know, take away the moments that he has to drop in and build some sort of rapport with his midfielders. Really body him. But you are not going to stop him unless you stop Emil Forsberg. So I think for Charlotte, it's sort of a, hey, stop Forsberg and you're probably going to slow down Choupo-Moting and the rest of the Red Bulls.
Absolutely. And just one final question for you, Andrew. Thank you again so much for joining us. I will ask the question all Charlotte FC fans and fans of yours are wondering, where will you be for MLS Countdown? Where will you be in the Queen City? Where will you be celebrating the crown? It is a massive, I will tell you, and I've been to a lot of MLS stadiums. I've been to a lot of games. The atmosphere that you are in for is 1 in a million. I cannot wait for you to experience. So where can fans find you? MLS Countdown. What have you heard? What are you most excited to be a part of?
Well, I think first of all, I always am going to try to find the tailgate. Like that's just the way I work. So I'm going to go hit that tailgate pregame. I believe it's a couple blocks north of the stadium.
Yep, it's not that far. They would do the massive march to the stadium. I know the walk well.
Yep. So I'm going to go hit that. I'm trying to convince Sir Minty right now to give me a ride in his chariot, aka golf cart, aka whatever vehicle he can pick up. I'm trying to get him to give me a ride back from the tailgate to the stadium, because I'll have to get into the stadium to do some pregame hits and interviews and things of that nature. So we're definitely going to hit the tailgate. Got to do that. We will get a camera into the march, so we'll get that on our broadcast as well. I'm sad to report that I probably will not be able to hit the march just because of interviews. However, I am going to, at the final sort of little bit of countdown, I'm gonna, I think I can't remember who's getting the coronation, but I'm gonna find my way to the throne, and then from the throne, I'm gonna climb my way into the stands, and then I'm going to make sure, this is my number one thing, I need to be a part of Peppa's in person, not witnessing Peppa's, literally in the middle of the crowd for Peppa's, doing Peppa's with them. So those are my initial sort of, check the box bucket list things right now. And my DMs are always open. So anybody in Charlotte who's saying, wait a second, you got to do this, you're missing out on this, please holler at me, get in my DMs, let me know what I should do. I get there Saturday night, so I don't have as much time as I normally would, but I will make the absolute most of my time.
Well, I will tell you, as someone who's been to a few Charlotte FC games and experienced all of the things you just mentioned, I think that itinerary is pretty picture perfect. Andrew Wiebe, thank you so much for joining us. We seriously appreciate your time and hope that you have a great trip to the Queen City. Should be a great game.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to experiencing your city in person, boys. Have a great one.
All right, take it easy. Thank you again.
All right, so hey, that was a good interview. Jeb, don't leave yet. Put yourself back up there. You don't just get to put me right back on camera like that.
All right,
Charlotte
I'll get it up here. Here we go.
Charlotte FC doing what they do, putting the fans through, I guess, a gauntlet of emotions the last couple of months. So
it's been exciting.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect to happen then?
I think I'm with Andrew. I think his breakdown was fantastic. But ultimately, you have a team like New York who's awful away, and a team like Charlotte who's fantastic at home. I mean, I'm not a mathematician. I wouldn't say I'm particularly great at that, but that's a 2 + 2 = 4. I think Charlotte's going to do great.
Good.
I think they're red hot, and I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to have some home games, hopefully. So, very exciting time to be a sports fan in the Queen City, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, Charlotte could use another playoff team. So
yes, it's about time.
All the thoughts are with that team. Let's go get them. Awesome, fantastic interview. Always love to have anybody from the MLS to sit down with us. Jeb does a great job at making sure that he gets those interviews and just getting the fervor of the fans. So we have a multiple fatality situation happening right now near and outside Buffalo, New York. In fact, to the east of Buffalo, New York, on I-90 in the New York State Thruway. And if you know anything about this area, this could be an immense time where this I-90 area is shut down. Now, there are ways to get around this, to get back from Buffalo to Batavia and to the other parts of the state more towards the east. But this portion of the interstate is shut down on both sides. They've actually been using a helicopter to fly people to local hospitals. And in fact, we had at last check before that interview, just to double check this, there have been 2 children flown to children's hospitals in the area, and then 2 adults flown to different medical centers as well. So it looks like one of the medical centers in the area confirmed that 16 patients have been received so far. They did not update the status of those individuals, and this is an ongoing situation that's really been going on since 12:30 p.m. So now at just 3 hours that these individuals have been working, and you can see how many law enforcement individuals are on scene right now. Rescuers, apparently they're dealing with, as I said, multiple fatalities, but even entrapments and injuries. And this is a bus. So I was seeing in a shot earlier, they were pulling folks out from one of the roof hatches. And I cannot imagine how you'd have to contort someone's body, or maybe the firefighters themselves, to get that person through. And that kind of tells you potentially, I guess this bus could be on the side of where this door is if they're taking people out of that, or maybe that was just the best access point for that individual. But we have not been able to see a specific shot. Just in case we do, please be aware this is a live situation that's developing at this time. So yeah, another ambulance coming from this scene right now. So this is like I said, a really bad wreck. We're not exactly sure how many people are hurt, but there were 52 people aboard this bus when this rollover accident happened. So again, we'll continue to monitor the situation. Actually, and just within the last couple of minutes, I don't know if we have anything on this, but Kilmar Abrega Garcia was freed from a Tennessee jail to hopefully rejoin his family in Maryland to await trial. This just happened within the last 5 minutes, so I wanted to make sure that you knew what was going on here. But obviously, Mr. Garcia has been in the public eye and the national spotlight because of what's happened between the Salvadorian national and the president, and the immigration agenda that the president has had, deporting him in March. There was some time where people didn't know exactly where he was. Then he, again, was back in the United States, was being detained, and now has been released based on a judge's order. So I would say a happy day for he and his family. I'm sure the Trump administration will appeal this decision and try to potentially get him back in custody at some point. But again, we'll update the situation as this develops on this Friday afternoon. Lots of news happening. And again, we've got something happening in Canada that we're going to go to right now, that the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, is talking about some retaliatory tariffs, which is something we discussed months ago. At the time, Justin Trudeau was the Prime Minister at that time. But now Mr. Carney taking over and talking about this. This is not him right now. I do believe he's going to step to the podium, so we'll go to this now live. All right, I think we just caught the tail end of that press conference, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But I'll kind of go over some of the nuts and bolts here quickly as we get our bearings in order here. This was an announcement that Canada was making sure the U.S. knew about, because they are dropping retaliatory tariffs to match the tariffs exemptions for goods covered under the United States-Mexico-Canada Trade Pact, is what the Prime Minister said just today. So they're going to include to carve out Canadian goods under the 2020 free trade deal that shields the vast majority of goods from the punishing duties. He went on to say, quote, Canada currently has the best trade deal with the United States, and while it's different from what we had before, it's still better than half of, or better than that of any other country, he said. So it sounds like the president and Prime Minister Carney spoke together yesterday, actually, and they met with his cabinet on Friday before making the announcement. So good news for both Canadian and the United States trade deals, and hopefully for the state of the economy as well. So we're going to get an update. I know that everybody's focused on the weekend. I saw some storm clouds above my house earlier today. Didn't necessarily rain, and actually within the next 15 minutes we're going to actually have a new investor of Ascent FC, one of the greatest tennis players of all time, will be joining us here on WCNC Plus. Not going to give the name away because I want you to stick around and watch, but we'll go to the forecast and we'll see you back in just a couple of minutes here.
Well, good Friday afternoon to you. I'm WCNC meteorologist. Majestic storm. We've been holding on to cloudy skies all day long, and really that's going to be the trend as we're heading into the afternoon and this evening. But all of that widespread and heavy rain, it already moved through the area. And while we head into the later half of our Friday, we could see a little bit of rain here and there, but overall the chances are low. Heading into this weekend, though, it's going to be all about those below average temperatures. Temperatures won't be cold by any means, but it is going to be much cooler than where we should be for this time of the year. Scattered rain showers on again, off again will be possible. And then next week, finally, the return of some sunshine and mild conditions. If you have any plans for your Friday afternoon or Friday night, I mean, it's not a bad day. We're looking at temperatures that'll be pretty comfortable into the 70s. I think we could hit some low 80s and possibly a little bit of sun breaks here and there. But with that, we're also watching those small rain chances that may develop really at any point for our Friday. 20% chance really through the majority of our day, so meaning most of us, we won't see any rain, but we can't rule out a little bit of sprinkles developing or even an isolated storm that could even bring a possible downpour. Here's our futurecast, though. This is what radar could look like as we're heading into the later half of the day. Here's about 3 o'clock. All of that white is indicating the cloud coverage there. And again, when I'm talking about very spotty shower and storm activity, I'm talking about very, very isolated. Not everyone will see it. That's that's for sure, but I think we could see some form. Here's about 3 o'clock right around Chester, or even perhaps up towards the mountains or the foothills, but generally not a bad second half of the day. By 6 o'clock, we're getting some indication that we could have a little bit of clearing. Wouldn't that be nice for our Friday evening from Taylorsville out towards Statesville, but still seeing a lot of white, indicating a lot of cloud coverage. Still trying to hold on. They are stubborn and they are thick, and we'll be waking up to some more cloud coverage tomorrow for your Saturday. So if you want to wake up, you want to take the kids to the park, maybe you want to go for a long run, it's going to be mild, pretty comfortable as far as those temperatures go, but unfortunately not a picture perfect, beautiful Saturday morning. As we're heading into the later half of our Saturday, again, mainly cloudy skies, and we can't rule out some mountain showers or thunderstorms. Very limited chance with that, though. There's the precipitation over the next 10 days. Overall, low but not zero today, and into tomorrow, we'll bump those up to about 30% on Sunday. And then heading into early next week, the sunshine returns, the temperatures start to rise, and those rain chances, they're actually going to go down. Let's take you up to the mountains where temperatures today are going to be rather mild, 60s and 70s. 70 degrees today in Boone. Across Lenoir, plan for mid to upper 70s. 77 is all you're getting to out there in Monroe. As we're looking at Gastonia, about 80 degrees for you in Shelby, and much of the same out towards Rock Hill. So be prepared for that. Temperatures are going to gradually get a little bit warmer. By early next week, we'll start to see them rise to right around 90 degrees on Monday. This is for Charlotte. And then they drop again back below our average before they start to gradually warm back up. Hurricane Erin is far away from the Carolinas, moving east-northeast at 28 miles an hour. It's still a Category 1 hurricane. While we won't get any major impacts anymore across really the eastern seaboard, we are still dealing with dangerous rip currents. Keep this in mind, especially if you're heading out to the beach this weekend or even into early next week. Here's that 7-day forecast as we are heading into the weekend. Cloudy skies today, low 80s. Lows tonight dip down into the upper 60s and gradually warming by Sunday. Have a great weekend.
All right, so yeah, nice to see some of the skies above the beaches out of the North Carolina coast looking a lot better, and our weather looking pretty nice, although we will still have the humidity hanging around. We do want to update the situation in New York. We did get an update from WGRZ, our content NBC partners up there in New York, that there is a tour bus. This is verified information now, just in, a tour bus returning to New York City from Niagara Falls. We had not known that. We had just assumed. There had been reports on that, and now that is verified, with more than 50 passengers crashed and rolled Friday on the interstate highway. It's killed and injured multiple people, the police have said. Apparently it lost control on I-90 near Pembroke, about 25 miles east of Buffalo. People inside apparently were ejected as the windows shattered. This is from their website specifically, I'm quoting. It seems that the trooper, James O'Callahan, the spokesperson for the New York State Police, saying at this time we have multiple fatalities, multiple entrapments, and multiple injuries. Several ambulances have come to the scene. Medical helicopters transported patients from the crash. We've had 2 children transported. We've had 2 adults transported, and I'm seeing if they've updated that. But it does say that O'Callahan, the trooper on scene, said that most people on the bus were Indian, Chinese, and from the Philippines, and translators had to be brought to the scene. My goodness, this has been, I'm sure, a convoluted rescue operation. It does say that the driver did survive this incident. The bus was traveling eastbound near the Pembroke exit, and that's when, for unknown reasons, the vehicle lost control. So again, we're still learning more. It looks like the Erie County Medical Center, a Buffalo hospital known as ECMC, which is what we had talked about a little bit earlier, said that they had gotten at least 8 patients by 2:10 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll continue to monitor the situation, but this is a scene that could be here for quite some time. All right, we're going to shift things back here locally. Some huge news for one of the, I guess, the newest professional franchise here in Charlotte, but it has fan fervor all over it. We know how soccer has been a fantastic, galvanizing sport here in Charlotte for us. Just talked about Charlotte FC and their big game against New York Red Bulls. We want to bring in one of the best tennis players of all time, Martina Navratilova. Martina, it's great to have you. Some huge news today that you are the newest minority owner, a huge investment in this team. And as I just said, they are one of the, if not the hottest team, not only in Charlotte, but I would say the United States. Is that one thing that probably grabbed your attention?
Well, what grabbed my attention is the opportunity to actually support women athletes, and this particular team has such a great front office, everybody there, really nice people, and they've done such a great job. 1 year they played, got to the finals, and they'll do one better this year because they have some new players as well, and the players are excited. I'm excited that I can be a part of this journey.
I think a lot of people are excited that you're on this journey now as well. As I said, some huge news. I can only imagine you are in Charlotte now because you have a WCNC, mic flag. I'm sure the trip, right, is a fun one. I'm not sure how long you've been in Charlotte, but what do you think of the city? Can you give me a perspective of yourself, kind of not necessarily being an outsider, right, but you're not from Charlotte. What would you say about the city?
Well, I first played here in 1973, so I'd say the skyline has changed just a little bit since then. But I remember driving around here, actually learned how to drive on the streets of Charlotte. And it's such a growing city. I think it's the fifth most growing city in the country. And everybody has been so nice. We got great weather and potential for a champion. So yeah, this is a cool town. I think this is my fourth interview with different stations, so many different TV stations, which means you're a big city. It's a big, small city, and I think I'm looking forward to coming and watching the women play and compete and hopefully win eventually.
Well, it's great to have you. We certainly appreciate your time that you take with us. Yes, unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes. The roundtable of media wanting to know different things. I guess I do. You had kind of brought this up, and there is just a need, and I think a lot of folks are really paying attention to women's sports at this time, just because of the highlight and the awareness that's been created by so many great athletes like yourself over the last 2 decades. Because it has been, I'm sure, a struggle to make sure that there's been equity on any playing field. And I think that has been a huge part of what you are trying to bring, I think, to Ascent FC, to the entire landscape here in the United States. Can you speak to that and what you've seen in terms of women's sports really being a catalyst, as I said earlier, to galvanize people together and really make sports better to watch?
I 100% agree with that. Better to watch. Women are built differently than men, but we play the game pretty similarly. And it's just women's sports has grown so much this so many years, but it's been a struggle because corporations are owned by men. The big brands are owned, most of them owned by men, run by men. The publicity that we get, used to be all male photographers, all male writers, all male people in the TV room. Now it's changed. There's a lot more women in those positions, and so the visibility has improved. We still have some ways to go, but it's been a long battle, but it's gotten so much better, and I'm just so excited to see these women and girls then get excited to play a sport which is a lot of fun, very healthy, and now they can make a living at it. So we've come a long way, baby, but we still have some ways to go.
Absolutely, and that's why they brought you on. I mean, you seem like a very humble person. I know we haven't met, but I have to imagine there's got to be some enthusiasm in that locker room, especially with your name. It resonates with these women. A lot of these women have played, continue to play professionally, have had resumes that are outstanding. But to have, as I said earlier, I know you probably won't tout yourself as one of the greatest ever, but you are. And I can only imagine how many young women have looked up to you over the years. Can you talk about just the excitement from your perspective that you've seen, not only in the locker room, but maybe just around the franchise as a whole?
Well, I only met like 3 women so far, the players on the team, but I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of them when I come back and maybe give them some snippets of what I know about playing and competing and winning. But it's nice to know that they actually do know who I am because, I retired back in '94, so most of them weren't even born when I stopped playing tennis. But now there's YouTube, so they can kind of check it out and see, hey, maybe she knows what she's talking about. I just hope to bring some kind of knowledge and some encouragement and inspiration to these women. Not that they need it, because they seem to be pretty much all self-starters from what I see. But they're excited about the second season, and I'm excited about being a part of it.
I got to ask a little bit more directly, and you don't have to answer, but I have to know, if you would tell us, please, what grabbed you about Ascent FC? I mean, you could have invested, I'm sure, in any franchise around the world, and especially around the United States. Why did you choose Ascent FC? Can I ask?
Yeah, of course. Well, I love the logo. No, just kidding. Pretty colors, pretty uniforms. I'm kidding. They called me up and they said, would you like to be a part of this journey? And, nobody else called. Not that I was really thinking about doing this because, I got my life and I'm pretty happy with where my life is right now. But this was an opportunity that I listened. I said, well, let me meet the people that are involved here, and we'll see how we get along. And everybody's been, again, so nice, so positive, and excited about me coming and buying into the franchise. And so I thought, I love new experiences, and this is in my wheelhouse. It is sports and it's women. So I'm all in, baby.
I love it.
Why
I love
not
it.
here?
Anything else? Anything
not
else,
here?
Miss Martina, that we don't know about you, or that would help us get a better understanding of the mission ahead? Anything else that we're missing here from you?
You're not missing anything except my dog Lulu is crying because she sees me here and she can't get to me. She's a 15-year-old dachshund. So if you want to meet her, Lulu's
Yes,
coming
please.
over.
Yes,
and she may
Lulu.
be coming with me to watch the
Oh, my
match.
goodness.
Here's Lulu. And she goes everywhere with me, but she can't hear you, and she can't hear me either.
I love it. Well, to you
Anyway,
and Lulu,
I
have a fantastic stay in Charlotte. Martina, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your investment into Charlotte. As we know, it's going to help our local economy, but it's going to help Ascent FC, and I cannot wait to see what they do with your backing as well. So appreciate it, and have a great weekend, okay?
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it, to be part of this community. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, man, what a jam-packed hour we've had, almost over here. We will continue to develop this news we've been seeing in New York with this rollover bus crash. Just updated you on that. We do want to go to the president. As I said earlier in our 3 o'clock hour, that he seems to be setting his sights now on Chicago, another city that he wants to take this crime crackdown to, his agenda to. Obviously, we've seen what's happened in Washington, D.C., some of the numbers that the administration has put out. I just saw Janine Pirro put out there was more than 40 arrests. They've seized a couple of guns over the last couple of days. So anyway, let's hear from the president. And I believe, Jeb, he speaks about Chicago in this. So we'll go to this now.
What do you think? Hey, Brian. Thank you very much. We have a very big announcement to make today. You all know Johnny. He came all the way from Italy, the beautiful country of Italy, to be with us. And he just got off the plane, and he's a hardworking guy, does a phenomenal job with FIFA. Nobody like him. I'm delighted to welcome FIFA President Gianni Infantino back to the White House for a major announcement about one of the most anticipated competitions in all of sports, the 2026, and this is a big deal, I'll tell you, I was so happy to get it, the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And it's going to be the World Cup as we know it. It's the biggest, probably the biggest event in sports, I guess, Johnny, right?
Yeah.
On December 5th of this year, the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw will take place at the Kennedy Center. Some people refer to it as the Trump Kennedy Center but we're not prepared to do that quite yet, maybe in a week or so. But right here in Washington, D.C., it's a tremendous honor to bring the global event and this incredible group of people and these unbelievable athletes, the best athletes in the world, to the cultural center of our nation's capital. I just left the Kennedy Center. We're spending a lot of money wisely on making it really beautiful. It's going to be beautiful again. It's like Washington, D.C. We had, by the way, in Washington, D.C., we have the lowest crime numbers they've had in years. Zero, it sounds like it's a horrible thing to say, but I might as well say it. Zero murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened, if you can believe it, how pathetic that is to have to even say it. And I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight or she won't be mayor very long, because we'll take it over with the federal government running like it's supposed to be run. The numbers were horrible. There was a crime-infested rat hole, and they do have a lot of rats. We're getting rid of them too. And we've made a lot of progress, and it was extremely unsafe, and now it's extremely safe. We had virtually no crime. The number was down 87%, and I'm trying to figure out where was the 13%, because I don't think it existed. The National Guard has been unbelievable, and they're working with the police, and they have some very good people in there. They have some people that shouldn't be police, actually, but they have some great people there. And the Washington, D.C. is a whole different place, and Johnny, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that too, actually.
Oh, yes.
But it's a whole different place. People are excited again. They're going out to restaurants again.
We want to update this on a situation here really quickly to interrupt the president here in Louisiana, excuse me. Tangipahoa Parish in Louisiana right now. There's an evacuation going on, an evacuation zone because of an explosion reported in Roseland, Louisiana, and emergency crews are really trying to assess this situation. We are trying to get our news partners, WWL, down in New Orleans. They are reporting on this live right now. And apparently there's been no injuries reported in this, which is a miracle because of the scene. Yeah, this is unreal. It is a fire and there's debris everywhere after this business apparently exploded. So some of these images coming into you live right now. And this evacuation zone has been expanded. There's a 1 mile radius around Roseland right now, which is, I mean, you can imagine a 1 mile radius. That's pretty big for a town this size, which is kind of a small place. But some of the images are gigantic, and it seems like the fire is nearing a number of tall cylinder type of encasings that I'm sure could have explosive materials in it. So I'm guessing that's why they are making sure people are evacuating the area at this time. So again, Tangipahoa Parish, the sheriff's office saying the concern is not chemical related, but it's rather due to the potential for fire and airborne debris. So the area does include many residential homes, which is why they're asking folks to evacuate. And you can see, from this shot, just some of those particles in the air just flowing around like that, which is probably what they're worried about. It seems like Tangipahoa Parish Emergency Operations Center, they're actively working the scene to evaluate the cause. But again, it's a miracle that there aren't any injuries reported at this time. So again, WWL in Louisiana getting more information on this. Residents are being urged to avoid the area. They're opening alternate routes to make sure the scene is going to be safe and for folks to be able to manage it and to investigate exactly what's happening. It seems like the danger is still there, which is why obviously there's a concern in an evacuation zone placed, a 1 mile evacuation zone around this explosion here in Roseland, which has also prompted a Highway 51 closure, which is close to this area, a main thoroughfare. So again, we'll continue to watch the situation as well as the situation in New York with that rollover bus crash. I do believe we're going to go back to the president now, speaking from the Oval Office.
State where I'll have a deal with somebody and I'll have them restrictive covenant. Then they'll come back and they'll say, I'd love to be able to build over here, but I'm not allowed to because you have me covered, you have me restricted. I say, I'll let you build over there, but pay me a lot of money. No different. But the country never did it because the country was run by foolish people.
Mr. President,
Chicago might be next.
Chicago
Uh,
might be next.
Are you making, have there been?
Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company in the world. And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president who would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or 200 or 300 or 500% tariff, anybody that sells into the United States has to pay. They wouldn't have left. They would have never left, and we wouldn't have. So in the meantime, we had people that were, in some cases, good politicians that weren't good on trade. I loved that man, but he was not good on trade. I totally disagreed. He allowed the car industry to be taken out of this country. We lost 50% of our car industry. But that's all coming back. It's all coming back. But if somebody would have said that with Intel, would be a giant right now. Now with that, they've had some bad management over the years, and they got lost. And I said, I think you should pay us 10% of your company. And they said, yes. That's about $10 billion. I don't get it. This comes to the United States of America. And I said, I think it would be good having the United States as your partner. He agreed. And they've agreed to do it. And I think it's a great deal for them. And I think it's a great deal. He walked in wanting to keep his job, and he ended up giving us $10 billion for the United States. So we picked up $10 billion. And we do a lot of deals like that. I'll do more of them. If somebody has, like we have restrictive covenants with Jensen. We have, it's NVIDIA. And to unrestrict the covenant, nothing to do with losing our powers or military or anything, because that I wouldn't do. But there are things you can do that don't affect us, that actually help us. And if we're going to give somebody a free out, a restricted covenant, we have a strong restrictive covenant on certain industries. And I will absolutely give somebody a opening on a restrict to do a lot of business, which is good for us, as long as it doesn't hurt us in a security or military way. And if I do that, I think the country should be paid, because anybody else, I have it in real estate where I'll have a deal with somebody and I'll have them restrictive covenant. Then they'll come back and they'll say, I'd love to be able to build over here, but I'm not allowed to because you have me covered, you have me restricted. I say, I'll let you build over there, but pay me a lot of money. No different. But the country never did it because the country was run by foolish people.
You said Chicago might be next.
Chicago might be next.
Are you making, have there been?
Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company in the world. And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president who would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or 200 or 300 or 500% tariff, anybody that sells into the United States has to pay. They wouldn't have left. They would have never left, and we wouldn't have. So in the meantime, we had people that were